I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
What's going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome to my channel on this Wednesday. This is Breaking the Narrative, and I have here with me two very lovely young women. Well, some
of us.
We're all young, some of us. They're amazing, though. They're amazing women, and I'm so happy to be joined by them. We have Chandler Remington. Hello, Chandler. How are you today?
Hello, I'm great. How are you, Nina?
I'm doing good. Please introduce yourself for those of the people that don't know who you are.
Sure. Hi, Nina's audience. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Chandler Remington. I'm a paralegal from Los Angeles, California, and I have a little YouTube channel where I talk about men's rights. And I'm currently doing a new series called Wicked Women, which is really exciting. So you guys should go check that out.
That is amazing. I want to start looking into this into this news podcast that you got going on, because it's very fascinating topics, and we're going to be talking about some of these predatory women today. And someone who's exposing them is also here. Megan Fox is here. Hello, Megan. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me. And I started watching some of Chandler's Wicked Women series that she started doing, and it's cool. It's very interesting. So I highly recommend it. But yeah, I wrote a book about wicked women. It's called Believe Evidence, The Death of Due Process from Salome to #MeToo. And this story is just one more story to add to the pile of why we need to look at evidence. I mean, you know, love your women friends and everything and believe your friends, but when they want you to take down some man on their behalf, you got to ask for some evidence.
Got to ask some questions. That is definitely a thing. I actually just retweeted Gina Carano, who happened to tweet out a quote by Albert Einstein, who said, this is what he had to say: condemnation before investigation is the highest form of ignorance. So that is definitely
quote. I like
it.
That.
And I think it's something that we've been doing in cancel culture and Me Too for a long time, where we've been condemning all these people without very, very little evidence. I mean, and look at what happened with, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard is one of the biggest cases out there that kind of showed that people were basically saying all these very terrible things about Johnny without any evidence. I mean, at the very start of it anyway, before the trial. But now, Megan, please also tell everyone where they can find you and what you do and your YouTube channel.
Sure. I have a YouTube channel. You can find me at Megan Fox Writer, I think it is. I still don't know my own YouTube channel, you guys.
I think it is.
Something like that.
I think it's Megan Fox Writer. And also on Locals, meganfox.locals.com, which you can see on my little thing down there, right over here. That's where you can find where all the notifications are, where I'm going to be next. But I basically cover a lot of legal stuff, law cases that I find interesting. I recently covered the Maya Kowalski trial, and I've been a journalist for many years, and I cover mostly stories of CPS corruption, family court corruption, and how these things all kind of blend together. And this story about Clayton Echard is like, it's like a category 5 hurricane of all of the topics that I generally cover. It's got family court corruption. It's got a lying woman. It's got, Me Too, shades of Me Too. And it's got this poor guy who no one believed because he's a man and because he has privilege. It is wild. It
also has immaculate conception, seemingly.
It's got mouth twins. There's just so much going on.
Twins. Oh my God. I mean, I have so many questions about this case. Let me start by saying this. First of all, I want to give a massive shout out to that umbrella guy Tugs, because he tweeted out your article, Megan, about this situation. And that is how I found out about it. And I was like, wait, what? Tug? What's going on with Megan? And I checked out the article, and I sat there on my couch at night, had a little bit of tea, and I started reading this article. And boy, oh boy, this rabbit hole that I went down, and I just became obsessed. I was like, this is the new thing that we got to be talking about. And I don't understand.
It's weird how long it took me to write this, to get the pieces in order, to kind of make it understandable. And there's so much more than what's in this article, but like there are so many pieces, like as you go through it, it just gets crazier and crazier. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I mean, it's a fiction that's spun by, a very mentally disturbed woman, and it's extremely convoluted. So it takes a lot of time to figure out the pieces because it's coming from just the brain of a very crazy person.
I mean, that's basically what it seems to be, is that this person is just completely mentally deranged or disturbed, or there's something going on. But whatever is going on, I feel like we need to get to the bottom of it, because I will tell you this before we get into this article, because we're going to get into this. I will tell you this. I'm Chandler, and I respect you so much, because one of the things that you're doing is calling out, the neo-feminism and the kind of delusional hate that women do towards men, like this man hating bullshit that we blame men for everything. And I'm so glad that you talk about stuff like that, because I talk about that stuff like that. But I've always been a classical feminist, because my mom was classical feminist. I grew up in Iran, where women had no rights. So, being a feminist was part of my identity, was part of my being growing up. And the way that, feminism turned, and it became like anti-men, and now it's become it's gone full circle to the point where we are becoming men. It's just the most ridiculous thing ever. Exactly. Ridiculous thing ever. And I feel like one of the things that really gets to me about this situation is predatory women, psychotic women, and women that want to like trap men, or use men in a sense of like getting their money, or baby trapping them, and all this shit that is in this situation is what I think that there's a special place in hell for women that do this kind of stuff. And because they make it really hard for other women, normal women, to find men relationships, and it makes men hate women because of women like this. And that is why I wanted to cover this story, because I feel like it's really important to cover it. But before we do, we got Legal Vices in the house. Ooh. Jeff is here. Hi, thank you so much for the
Jeff
2,000 woolly bullies. Thank you.
Aww, that's so nice.
He says all three of my most favorite people together. Yay, me!
That's very cute.
And actually, Jeff is the reason that I met Chandler, because I think I met you on his the first
That's how
time.
I met Chandler. It's Jeff.
Jeff has been the person who has introduced me to all of my favorite people now. And Thank you,
He's
Jeff,
just
for
he's
fabulous
just
super
bringing
chat.
people together. He's just bringing people together like
He's
Nick
good at that.
Vacay.
Yeah,
Really,
Jeff's a bro. He's a total bro, and I love him. And I hope, Jeff, if you're listening, that you give Strawberry back her bottle. She wants her bottle to play with.
oh,
Give
give
it
her back the
back.
bottle. What are you doing,
I was
Jeff?
not aware of this circumstance.
Yeah, I don't
Poor
know about that.
Strawberry.
He took
Oh.
He took Strawberry's bottle away during a stream because it was too loud.
The bottle
And
of
she
whiskey?
looked. No, it was like a plastic bottle.
Oh
And it
my God.
was her little face. She went to the camera like,
Oh.
and the entire stream was screaming at Jeff the whole time. It was so funny. This was yesterday morning. You guys have to watch it. Little Strawberry's face was to die for. People were making memes about it. It was so sad.
I
Oh
love
my
her.
God. What are you doing, Jeff? Give that little bottle back. Hashtag give the bottle back.
When you have doggo cam, people are going to see how you treat your doggos, and they're going to
That's
have
right.
opinions, and
We're
you've
gonna
got to follow the
judge
people's
you.
advice. It's like, oh, my
True.
cat has this he has this sort of habit where he'll just go into the other room and he'll just start yelling. Like he'll just go "Meow, meow, meow," like an alarm, and it's just something that he does. And then everybody in the chat is always like, Chandler, pick up your cat for God's sakes and pet him, feed him, do something. And I was like, he just likes to do that. I don't know what it's about. He's like
Oh my
calling,
God.
to his homeland, his ancestral, whoever's, and I have no part in it. He doesn't want to be petted. He doesn't want snacks, but they'll just be like, Chandler, pet your cat. It
That
happens.
is too funny. Oh
If your
my
pets are involved
God.
in live streams, people are going to have opinions. It's just how it happens.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I love dogs and just cats, pets in general. They're so great. Justice for Strawberry. That's right.
I love that. It's a hashtag. Oh, that's
Oh
perfect.
my
I gotta
God.
Justice
see
for
some memes.
Strawberry. Let Strawberry
Oh.
crunch. She wants to crunch,
She
Jeff.
wants. Oh, crunching is really important.
Damn it, Jeff. Okay. Let's get into some of this other craziness that is going on. So I don't even know where to start because Megan, this is such a crazy story. So let's pull up your article. How did you find out about this? Let's start with that.
Well, one of my followers, one of my lovely people, probably one of my locals members, tweeted me and said, "You need to see this. Please look at this." And it was a video by Dave Neal. Now, Dave Neal is in the Bachelor world. He's a Bachelor podcaster. And he's a comedian. He's great. I met him through this process, and he is the only one besides Reality Steve who has been covering this. He has done all the investigative journalism work. He is exposing it, and he's being sued. And I talk about that in this column. But I looked at his work on this case, and I went back through all of his videos, and I totally binged on them for an entire day. And I was like, oh my God. This story must be told, and he can't be the only one out there on a limb doing it by himself. And so that's why and he's such a nice guy, and he's got a great channel. Go check out Dave Neal on YouTube. Give him some support because he's been going through this alone because the cowards in the Bachelor Nation who do other podcasts and cover Bachelor news wouldn't touch this story with a 10-foot pole. But let me ask you this, Nina. Do you think that they did cover it when this woman went to the media and said Clayton Echard knocked me up and won't talk to me and is treating me badly?
Of
Yes,
course.
they did.
Of course, I would assume so. I mean, I've seen the articles because that's basically what they did cover at first. Now, I did want to mention him as well. So, make sure everybody go and subscribe to his channel because he is definitely covering the story, and he's being sued over it. Now, to give you guys a little breakdown of my end of things, I've never even watched The Bachelor once. I've never even been into the show. I don't give a crap about that kind of show, that kind of reality
cheesy,
TV.
but it can get addictive if you watch for longer than I try not to look. I had a friend who was very into it, and I had to look away.
Came out. Yeah, I used to be really into it when it first came out, but it's had 100 seasons. I think I tuned out at season 8 or 9, when I would normally stop watching a show. But this has just gone on and on and on, and so I never saw his season. But I did hear that he had a rough time of it. He got a bad edit. People hated him. They said he was misogynistic because he was sleeping with more than one woman, but they all do that. His mistake
Yeah, don't
was,
they all do that?
They all
yes,
get massages. They all have their time where they do the
They all do it.
massage.
Well, there's an entire
Massage.
episode about the fantasy suite. That's the whole thing about the fantasy suite. So anyway, his mistake was being honest and telling the women that he slept with more than one of them. And I think that
Wow.
and then they edited him to make him look like a cad, and everyone in Bachelor Nation just hated him.
Ooh.
This is actually his second false accusation in a year. So he had
Oh.
another
another.
woman.
I didn't know that.
Me either.
I just learned this. There was another woman that accused him of having a hookup with her, and she did it publicly, said that he was cheating on his girlfriend with her. And that was not true. And him and his girlfriend had to actually pull up his GPS on his phone for that date to show that he was in another state when this person alleged that. But again, the media ran with it
Ooh.
and said this, and before that he could get his story out. And then again, this woman goes to the media, tells them that she's pregnant. They don't ask her for any proof of this. And when he goes to them and tells them his side of the story, including the emails and the things he has proving that this woman is fatal attraction level crazy, they don't print it.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, let's back it up though, because we got to tell people what's going on. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people in the chat that are like, "What the hell are you guys talking about anyway?" Because most people in my chat probably also don't watch The Bachelor, and they're like, Nina's obsessed with celebrity news again. Look, I go through these phases where celebrity news is like pretty interesting to me, but it's not like even this guy is like a huge celebrity or anything.
No.
And I think that's probably part of the problem too, because I was listeling to your live stream with Neil. I think that's what his name is, right?
Yeah,
The guy
Dave Neal.
Dave Neal. So I was listening to that live stream that you were doing with him, and he was saying that one of the reasons that the outlets weren't really picking it up is because he's not as famous as most, other celebrities. And so it's kind of like I guess, a double-edged sword of being, if you're super famous, yeah, every outlet's going to pick it up. But if you're not really that famous, like people are like, well, we don't really want to cover this, or this is just way too crazy and we don't really want to cover it. It's too crazy. It's not crazy enough for like TMZ, and it's too crazy for other people, I guess. And so either way, this guy's just not being heard, except for this channel, Dave Neal's channel, and now you, Megan. And there's another girl that was covering the story that this woman actually came after, but we're going to get into all that. But let's start with how this all kind of came to be. Now, I don't know how you want to do this, Megan. Do you want me to go through this article and read it, or do you want to give us kind of like the lowdown of what happened?
I would say you read it because it's just easier.
Okay. Sure. I'm going to start reading it then. So here we go. This is obviously written by Megan Fox. Here we go. Great article. One of the strangest stories have ever come out of the Bachelor Nation, the community that follows and watches ABC's Bachelor dating shows, has to be the bizarre paternity fight between former Bachelor Clayton Echard and Laura Owens. Okay, so here I'm going to pause and let you guys know that one of the reasons that I put Voldemort as a pregnant lady
on the thumbnail.
Amazing.
It's like the funniest freaking thing I've ever seen.
I didn't even notice it at first. It cracked me up.
It was because apparently this woman does not want to be talked about at all. And
that is why she's entitled to not be talked about when she went to the media herself. It's incredible.
Well, she went to the media herself, but apparently she's like wanting to sue people that talk about her. So I figured she's like Lady Voldemort. And so I told the AI to make like Voldemort pregnant, and it did. And that's what
your thumbnail should win an award. It's so funny.
It's hilarious. I didn't have time to laugh at it as hard as I wanted to. I'm going to have to do that later.
I was pretty proud of that thumbnail. But okay, so a former fling of the reality TV star. Now, so this chick, she wasn't on The Bachelor.
No.
She was just some chick that he happened to hook up with, correct?
Yeah, and actually it turns out after I wrote this, he was interviewed on the biggest Bachelor podcast there is, Nick Vile, who is a vile person, by the way, because he wouldn't cover this before. He's a
That's his
coward.
name.
So he interviewed him, and it turns out that he had just gotten his real estate license like a couple weeks before she contacted him. She targeted him on LinkedIn. She found him purposefully and then tried to manipulate him through promising him $1.4 million in real estate sales.
Yeah, she basically positioned herself
Whoa.
as, oh, I really want to buy a house. And she slid
Yeah.
into his DMs on LinkedIn, tried
Yep.
to make it about business, but she just wanted the D. So,
Oh my
And she was very flirty
God.
with him.
Yeah.
And then one night, and he kept saying no. And then one night he was doing the gummies, which you guys got to be careful with the gummies, man. I'm telling you, he was on the gummies, and she sent him a nude, and he said, come over. And then they had what he says is just 2 oral sessions. And then all of a sudden she's pregnant.
Oh my God. Like, I have so many questions about that. Okay, we're going to answer. I'm like, how the fuck? How do you get pregnant from fucking oral sex?
Namely,
Okay,
did this woman
don't.
take
You
7th
don't.
grade health classes? I mean, did she like have sex ed? Does she understand how one gets impregnated? I'm concerned.
it's so weird. Okay, this shit gets wild, you guys. Okay, hang tight.
It's a lot.
So she's a former fling. This story is salacious and dramatic and has many elements of the blockbuster Hollywood movie Fatal Attraction that scares everyone in America in 1987. And
true.
so it should, because that is a fucking scary movie.
Yeah,
In the movie, married man Dan Gallagher, played by Michael Douglas, meets Alex Forrest, a sexy editor portrayed by Glenn Close, who entices him into an affair and then proceeds to make his life a living hell, ending in her death at his wife's hand. I'm sure you guys have seen this movie. It's classic.
They remade it into a TV show recently.
And
What?
I just watched it. Yeah, on Amazon Prime. It's a series. I just watched it. I was really bored for like half of it. And then towards the end, I kind of got into it. It's not bad. It is not the original. The original is much tighter and like scarier. And I didn't like they go back in time a lot in the series. And I always hate that because I'm always like, wait, how many years ago is this? And like, wait, are we in now time? Where are we at?
Mhm.
So
I think
that
Lizzie
was kinda hard to
Kaplan is in
follow.
it as well. Am I correct about that?
I don't know names.
Mm.
That sounds familiar. It's the guy that was in that show with Katie Holmes that was so famous in the 90s. Dang it.
Dawson's Creek.
Yes.
I love that.
He was in Dawson's Creek.
Oh my God. Okay. Well,
It's okay, but it's not as good as the movie. I recommend the movie. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch the original with Michael Douglas. That movie
I
will
definitely
scare the shit
recommend
out
the
of you.
movie too, because also the 80s movies in the 80s are like just some of the best
So
movies
good.
ever.
I always
so
I mix it up with Basic Instinct frequently, which is another one.
I do that too, Chandler. Sometimes
Yeah.
I mix them up, like
It's
'cause
like a little
they're
file in my
very-
brain. For
yeah,
like
they're very
insane women
similar themed. Yeah, crazy,
psychotically go
crazy
after
bitch.
men. It's like those two. I mix up all, but that's Sharon Stone, not
Sharon
the same
Stone.
situation.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel
Mhm.
though that like these series are like trying to drag shit out because they have to fill up 8 episodes or whatever. And in Fatal
Sure.
Attraction, the movie, it's so tight and well run and like I don't know, it just moves really fast and it gets you right from the beginning and it keeps you on this roller coaster throughout the entire thing.
Mhm.
And that's just more exciting for a thriller like in the genre. So
Mhm.
it's just a good movie, just a great movie.
I
It
agree. I
is.
think thrillers should be terse. Brevity is the
Yes.
soul of wit. So I
Yes.
agree with you.
Mhm. The similarities between Echard's experience and Gallagher's are significant, while not including any boiled family pets, thank God. The harrowing story of what can happen to a man who isn't careful about who he dalliances with, allegations of fathering twins through fellatio. Dude, when I read this,
Immaculate Conception. She's the new Mary. I'm telling you guys.
Tonsil twins.
Yeah.
dude, Megan, the first time I read this article, I literally had to take a double take and I was like, I literally questioned my like ESL because I'm English as a second language. I was born in Iran. Like, I learned
You're
English.
like, wait, did I read
was
this
like-
properly?
Yeah, I was like,
is Farsi your first language, your native language?
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. And I was like, is fellatio like head? Because I remember fellatio meant head. And if I remember correctly, I don't think you can get pregnant.
Well, actually, so then somebody sent me today on Twitter, just today, a story from ABC about a teenager in Africa who actually got pregnant through a blowjob because she also was involved in a knife fight directly after the action because her boyfriend
What?
caught her with the new guy.
Huh?
And there was a knife fight. She got stabbed in the stomach area. And I swear to God, she ended up, these things made their way down through her, down the throat, through the stomach, and out the hole, and into an egg.
Oh my God.
This is
That's-
a real thing that happened, and they think it was because of the tear in the stomach, and that they had bathed out her stomach with like a saline solution when they were operating on her to close up the thing, and they think that they may have pushed some sperm through the hole that then went down and impregnated her. That really happened. It's in an ABC article, I swear to God.
Jesus fucking Christ,
I
Megan,
have
you're gonna have
no
to
words.
send me that article because
I
that's
will.
messed up.
I'll send it to you now because you won't
Yes.
believe it. We can maybe
Yes,
pull it
Please
up.
put it in the private chat.
Yeah,
That's
please pull it
disturbing.
up so we can show at least the headline. My
And now
God,
they
The
have to
headline
let
is
Megan.
the headline is great. Oral sex, a knife fight, and then sperm still impregnated girl. And the other weirdest thing about this story is she didn't have a vagina. This is a girl who was born with no vagina. I've never heard of anything so crazy in all my life.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
This story gets crazier and crazier.
I
Like,
know,
what
I've
the-
never heard of this, but
Jesus
she had
found a way.
no vagina. And they're like, yeah, life will find a way. The doctors are just like,
Oh
well,
my God. Okay, hold on.
that baby was meant to be.
Real
Let's just-
quick, we're just taking a break from the other crazy article
Sorry,
for
I
a
pulled
minute.
too much.
Oral sex, a knife
Wow.
fight, and the sperm still impregnated. Holy fucking
What
hell,
do you
this is
know?
a real.
There it is in black and white.
It's really, it has doctors touting the triumphant persistence of sperm. This was in 1988. A 15-year-old girl in some small African nation baffled the doctors. She had no vagina.
Wow.
She didn't have a vagina.
Inspection of the vulva, yeah, showed no
Showed
vagina,
no
only
vagina.
a shallow skin dimple. A shallow skin dimple. How strange.
What the fuck? Okay. All right. Back to the other article.
I know.
Holy shit. There's so much craziness. I think like this can't possibly get any more crazy. And then Megan's like, hold my fucking beer.
Now fellatio twins seem a lot more realistic and normal compared to that. Megan, I'm gonna have to live the rest of my life knowing that happened.
I know.
And I blame you.
I'm sorry. I'm
Be
sorry.
aware of knife fights after fellatio, guys. Like
I
shit.
know,
Don't get into
Good
a knife
warning.
fight after a blowjob. That's the
Good
lesson
to
there.
know.
I really
Or
like
don't
this.
swallow at least. My God.
My God, Chandler. This comment sums everything up, really. Humans are weird. This is true.
Yes.
Yes.
So allegations of fathering twins through fellatio, going to media to expose him, publishing private texts, and taking him to family court for paternity, only to concede there are now no babies. Should be front page news in the entertainment world, but it isn't. The question is why. Now, this part about there are no babies, my God, like my head was reeling. I was like, I don't understand. Like, did she get an abortion?
Yeah, we still don't know.
Yeah. Okay. See, you still don't know because I'm starting to think that there never really was a baby. So I don't think that there was ever really an abortion because there was never really a baby. So if there's never really a baby, there wouldn't be an abortion either. So going on with the article, it says one YouTuber and host of popular podcast Bachelor Rush Hour, Dave Neal, this who we talked about earlier, has been the near lone voice trying to tell the true story of of false allegations, vexations, litigation, and nonstop harassment of Echard. For his trouble, Neal is now the subject of Owen's attempts to silence him for reporting the public documents at the heart of this case. This is crazy because these are public records that
She doesn't seem to
he's reporting
understand
on.
the
She
significance
doesn't
of that.
understand what happens when you file documents in a court. She believes that those things are private if she wants them to be. She doesn't understand how court orders work and how sealing of records works and how you have to get the parties' consent to do that. She has tried to seal records and she has failed at every turn. And even though she's failed in court, she goes and lies to people and says those documents are sealed. Well, they're not sealed, honey, because I can go on the Maricopa County registry right now and pull them up. They are not sealed. They're open. Now, it's a pain in the ass to get them because you have to actually go to Maricopa County and ask for them, but they will give them to me. I mean, it's no big deal.
What would you have to do? What would you have to do to get them sealed, though, Chandler? Like, because like as a legal, you said you were you have legal background. So what would you have to do to get them sealed?
I do, but I actually don't really know that area of I guess that would be civil procedure. That's not something that
you have to
really
file a
learned.
motion.
Megan
You just have
knows.
to file a motion
Generally.
you file a motion asking the judge to seal the records. However, there are standards. You only can seal public court documents for one if it involves a juvenile. So if there's a juvenile involved
Sure.
and there's some kind of special, perhaps an SA case or child A case, you know what I'm talking about, or something sensitive, a court is more willing to seal. But in a case like this where it's contested on both sides, you're going to have the other side, Clayton's side or the other victim side, going, no, we do not want these records sealed, because then who's going to be able to, how will I be able to tell my story? And judges don't usually seal records like this. Custody records are usually not sealed. Family court records, unless DCF is involved, they're usually not sealed.
No,
Gotcha.
typically, if it's public, it generally stays public. And this woman also doesn't understand that if you make a public Facebook video that you post where you introduce yourself by your name, that just because you make it private later doesn't mean that that video is private if somebody captured it.
That's why they say the internet's forever.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you can't just like go around and then, saying stupid shit and then privating it and pretend like that doesn't exist anymore. So at the heart of this case, Neil is facing a harassment lawsuit for his effort, while judge denied Owens a protective order against Neil, whom she has never met. He still has to go to court and present evidence to a judge showing that reporting news and public documents is not illegal. But I'm guessing he's pretty confident that the judge is probably either going to dismiss the case or basically tell her to go fuck herself, right? I mean,
well, the last thing that he's heard from her attorney is, how do we settle this? And he's like, settle? There's no settling. No, you admit you did all these things to me wrong. You admit you were never pregnant. You admit you did these things to Clayton, but there's no settling. We're going to court, baby.
She's not going to admit that. There's no way she's going to admit that.
Well, she needs to. She's going to have to at some point. It's coming.
Well, the burden of proof is always on the claimant. She's making the claim that he got her pregnant. How can she prove it? She would have to have a sonogram. She would have to have medical records. She would have to have a blood test. She would have to have doctor's visits. She'd have to get, letters from doctors, swearing under oath that they examined her and they did find her to be pregnant with twins. And whatever happened to those twins eventually, that there was a miscarriage or there was something that happened to, like some kind of, or an abortion or something like that. She has none of those records. She has falsified records. And I think that you get into that in the article, don't you, Megan? That's a big part of it.
I don't know if we got into the falsified. There's so much that
There's
may
like
not have made it in here. But she
put
did falsify a sonogram.
Yeah.
That is what we're gonna get into next, because that is in the article. Now I don't know what other records.
I did put it there.
You put that in here. I don't know what other records she's falsified, but when we get to that portion, please expand on that. So Owen filed for an order of protection against Neil on November 1st, stating that Neil has been posting defamatory content against me multiple times daily, and I wanted to stop immediately. He has been warned that if he does not stop making this content and defaming me in an effort to gain favor with Mr. Echard, that I would be obtaining an order, yet it has not stopped him. Well, lady, now I'm talking about you. And so is Megan Fox. So welcome to the internet.
And so is Tug. And it's only getting bigger. I mean,
it's going to get better and better. It does not seem to have occurred to Owens that Neil enjoys a constitutional right of free press to report on news stories and public court records without government interference, regardless of whether the story subject likes it. Judge Fridas Doherty of the LA Superior Court denied Owens's petition, writing the allegations in the petition are
conclusory.
Conclusory, thank you. Not specified as to date, time, message, and potentially involve core First Amendment concerns, restricting potentially protected speech without a hearing could constitute a prior restraint. A hearing will be necessary to ascertain if the communications are not protected, amount to harassment, cyberstalking, revenge porn, defamation, etc. Which none of these things are happening.
No, the revenge porn is a picture she posted of herself that she claims is revenge porn because Dave Neal shared it after blurring out her face, and it was a alleged picture of her pregnant belly.
Oh my God.
It really just looked like she was pushing it out to me.
Or like
But
she had a
there-
big lunch, something like that.
Yeah, like you had a big, like
A
a really big
chimichanga or
hoagie or something,
something.
and then like too much gluten. I don't
But
know.
Maybe.
she's saying that that's revenge porn. Does that
Uh-huh.
even
And she
constitute?
shared it. She put it on her public Dropbox when she was contacting media and giving out that link. And anybody could download this stuff, share it, keep it. Once you put she doesn't understand that once you make something public, that's it. You can't then like make it unpublic and say, now everybody who has that has to not publish it anymore. No,
Mhm.
that's not how that works. And that is not the definition of revenge porn. But see, she lies. She lies to get her way.
I mean, she's the embodiment of FOFO, pretty much. She F's around and then when she finds out, she throws a big tantrum and she tries to file a motion and she tries to make a big deal. It reminds me of Amber Heard because I don't know if you guys remember, I hate referring to it like this, but you all know the fappening. Amber Heard posted pictures of herself nude and pretended like, oh no, that they got me. And it was just her putting her own nudes out there because she wanted to be a part of it. You know, she wanted to be objectified like everybody else. And
That is wild. I forgot that she did that. That is crazy.
It just reminds me of Amber Heard. There are these similarities to these psycho women who, you know, like Sherry Papini, Rebecca Jones. I was, you know, like all of that. I know you did a deep dive on that the other day, Megan. There's a type. There's a type of woman who does this kind of thing. I don't know
it's
what
very
makes a woman
attention
like that.
seeking. It's very attention seeking. And I told you, we watched Dr. Curry the other day talking about on the stand,
Dr.
talking
Hawkins.
about borderline personality and also histrionic. And I just saw a lot of things in that definition that strike me as similar between a lot of these women. And I don't know if it's those diagnoses, but the symptoms of those diagnoses sure seem to fit, is all I'm
The
saying.
cluster B, the victim princess complex. That was a big
Cluster
one.
B. I was gonna say that too, man.
And
That
the
is
attention seeking, like this is really like everybody, all women like attention. But this goes, we all like attention, but this goes to a whole other level. This is, if I can't get the attention that I want, I will fabricate and lie and do all of this crazy stuff to get more. And it doesn't matter if the attention is negative. I don't care. I want the attention, whatever that attention is. And I saw that a lot of that in Amber Heard and now in Laura Owens and in other Sherry Papino or Papini. What is it?
Sherry Papini. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of attention, everybody, please make sure you smash the like and share the stream because we want attention on this stream as well.
Absolutely.
We want that attention, guys. Give it to us. So these allegations by Owens have required Neal to obtain a lawyer and pay thousands for his defense of the allegations, of course, because like freaking law costs money, man. Like you gotta hire a lawyer, and it's a whole freaking thing. I wonder though if he does win it, do you think he's gonna counter sue her? Like I would.
He needs to, but he really doesn't sound like he wants to. I think he really just wants to be exonerated. And if the family court does that, hey Dave, Dave O'Neill's in the chat.
You. Hello.
If this court does exonerate him by forcing her to show whether or not she was actually pregnant or what happened to the so-called twins, then maybe he won't because he will have gotten what he really wanted. But I really hope he does because there's no other way to hold her accountable. And there are 2 other victims that we know of, Nina. 2 other men that she's done this to.
I was going to bring that up, that this is not a first time apparently that this has happened. Fellatio twins are a thing apparently for this woman, which is fucking wild.
If I may interject really quick.
Sure, please.
The thing is, it seems like she has money. She has the money to keep fighting this battle in court. And I think that countersuing would be a really good idea, at the very least for the cost of attorney's fees. I mean, nobody should have to pay for attorneys for somebody like this, coming all up in your business and suing you for protected free speech. It's constitutionally protected. This is America. This is ridiculous. And the case should have been dropped. But I do think that a countersuit would be good. Anyway, just wanted to put that out there.
I would definitely, I mean, if it was me, I would totally sue her, like countersue her for at least for attorney's fees, because I mean, like, dude, it's time, money, energy, all of it. And like this woman, she doesn't deserve anything.
His reputation has been destroyed. His entire group of peers, like a lot of these guys who go on The Bachelor, they're not real big stars or anything, but they do tend to, they make a career out of it afterwards. He got a following on Instagram, and he was supposed to, his big platform was he wanted to talk about mental health. Well, he had all these like talks set up after The Bachelor. She went after the people who had hired him to give those talks, and they fired him because, well, we can't have a guy talking to our high school students about mental health who knocked up some girl and is now embroiled in a scandal. She has specifically gone after his way to make a living. She went after his real estate license. She went after a TV show that he was on. She has targeted him in every single way so that he can't make money. This is damaging, and the only way to get it back is to sue.
Yes,
I agree. Did you mention the time that he was about to speak at an event, and she had like emailed those people to say, well, my mental health is suffering because of what he did to me, and that whole
I didn't put it in the article, but she did that, and it's horrendous what has been done to Clayton. And even today, after he told his story, even now, those morons in Bachelor Nation who cover this stuff, like Nick Viall, he is out there victim shaming Clayton and calling him stupid and saying that he fell for dumb things and he made bad mistakes. He made stupid mistakes. That is garbage. You would never do that to a woman. You would never do that to a woman who was stalked and harassed for years through vexatious litigation. You would never say that about a woman. They feel empowered, though, to say it about Clayton. And maybe Clayton's not the brightest bulb in the box, okay? But that's not what we're talking about. It doesn't matter. He's the victim in this case. You wouldn't blame a woman for being attacked by a man, and yet these people feel so confident in attacking and mocking him. And I feel sick, and they won't mock her. It's incredible. They still
if the rules
won't mock her.
It's the double standard, right? I mean, it's going on in all of media, is this double standard, and Me Too, and this double standard where that this is where the whole believe all women thing comes into play, and it's so ridiculous because women can be liars, women can have cluster B and narcissistic women that do this kind of stuff. This is why I say there's a special place in hell for women like this that do shit like this.
And they can be violent, and they can be abusers, and they can they can be killers,
and they can be
there's an entire ID show called Snapped, all about women who kill. So this idea that women need more, they're more believable than anybody else is just garbage. It's just garbage.
And go ahead, Chandler. Go ahead.
One of the things that perpetuates these myths about women so frequently, especially with this circumstance, is the idea, this has been put out there, this is totally false, by the way, that false allegations are rare. They are not rare. They are not rare at all. False allegations are very hard to prove. And when you look at the actual statistical number of false allegations, they only count in cases where there are convictions. But there are a lot of allegations that get dropped. And without any kind of court procedure, that man has a stain on him forever, where people will wonder, did he do it? And in fact, it's something more like 36 to 42% of all allegations made are false. And that's a shocking number, and people don't know that. And people think that it's rare.
They're not reported. They're not reported.
They're never.
Men are not running to the police to report that they were duped by some woman. They're embarrassed, first of all. They're embarrassed to even tell their closest friend that a woman tried to pulled one over on them. This is not something that men want to talk about. I know for a fact that many of these things have gone unreported. So the statistics are bullshit. We can't, and also the statistics are only about SA. They are not about false allegations of domestic violence, false allegations of pregnancy, they're only about that one particular thing. And it's not 2%. The study said 2 to 10%. But when the media reports it, they cut out that 10% and they just go with the lowest number. But 2 to 10 means probably more like 8.
Yeah, and I was going to say that, like, the whole idea of the whole victim blame, it's so stupid, because even if that's true and he made a very dumb decision to sleep with this woman without knowing and having this one night stand or whatever, like, it doesn't matter.
Just blowjobs, no
Just
sleeping.
blowjobs, that's right. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. Like, he's still a victim, and what she's doing to him is wrong. And if people, like, if this happens multiple times, and it's apparently been happening multiple times to other men, if there's a track record, she needs to be stopped. Like, these
And the
people,
cops aren't going to stop her. And this is the other thing, because she's a woman, because society has a desire to protect women, and that's a good thing, and that should never, I don't want that to go away.
me either.
But because we have that desire, right? And men have a desire to protect women, and men who report being abused by a woman, most of the time they get laughed at, because a police officer will be like, well, she's smaller than you and she's not a threat to you, so why don't you just, kick her out or move on. They don't understand how it works. And in this case, she has made it it's like her MO to manipulate law enforcement to believe her and her stories of made up domestic violence, she makes up all kinds of crazy stories, and they tend to believe her. And it's so weird. I have evidence of that too that I haven't written about yet, because I'm waiting for Broward County Sheriff to get back to me with a statement about why they believed her without doing any investigation in another case that she's doing.
And Dave says her lawyer is now filing to depose Clayton. Not sure
Oh,
why,
good.
but good to see he will have his truth on record verbally.
Good, great. Depose him. He should be thrilled. That means I hope that means, Dave, does that mean that the deposition on her went through today? Because she was supposed to be deposed by Clayton's attorney today. Do we know if that actually happened? That would be great to know.
While we wait for that answer, I'm going to keep reading. A thorough review of Neil's work on this story shows that he has done nothing but report public documents, including information Owens herself made public, like the photograph of her allegedly pregnant belly that Neil found posted on her public Dropbox that she now claims is revenge porn. She showed the same photo in a broadcast court hearing on November 3rd, which there's a link to here.
Oh my God, I didn't know that part.
That was freaking wild. Neil uncovered that Owens has been in court battles with at least 2 other men alleging pregnancies and demanding child support and paternity tests. The Maricopa County dockets show that Owens kept her former boyfriend, Greg Giuseppe, is that how his name? Gillespie, thank you. Gillespie, in family court for 4 years after alleging she was pregnant with his twins. How does that even happen? I mean, when there's no babies, like how do you for 4
alleging
years?
other things too. So it wasn't just, she was alleging coerced abortion in that case.
Oh, damn.
She claimed she was pregnant, and then she claimed that he coerced her into having an abortion. But of course, if you read the emails, it's all same kind of emails she sent to Clayton, which is, and you will love this, and I didn't put this in my article, I don't think. Here's her standard playbook. She says she's pregnant, and then she tells the man she's interested in, I will have an abortion if you date me seriously.
What the
But if you
fuck?
won't date me and you won't sign this dating contract that I wrote up for you, that's totally legally unenforceable. If you won't sign this dating contract, like 50 Shades of Grey fan fiction, I will keep the baby, and basically I'll have your baby and be in your life forever. Or you're in control. You can make me have the abortion, but you have to date me with intention.
Psycho.
Oh, but there's more. I don't know, Megan. Do you want to give us the best part, or should I get into it?
No, you do it. Do it. Go for
Please,
it.
Chandler, tell us.
She goes on to say in the email that she's the safest person. So she wants to explore intimacy with him if he does choose to pursue her. And she's not only the safest person to have sex with because she's pregnant, but he can tell by how tight she is,
Nina's
that
face.
Wait, what was the conclusion of that, Megan? That
Because
she hadn't had sex in a long time, or
Yes,
that was proof?
he would believe her about the paternity because he would know if he were inside of her how tight she is,
Yeah,
that she hasn't been with anyone in over a year.
because vaginas
Oh
work like
my
that. They shrink when
God.
you don't have sex for a long time.
Yeah, and
Totally
also,
true.
by the way, the pregnancy hormones actually relaxes everything. So, ladies, I hate to tell you this, I've had 3 children, and I can tell you from experience, everything gets relaxed and everything gets loose, like everything. You don't get the tightening back until after the babies are born, girls.
Oh my
So
goodness.
this is clearly a woman who has never been pregnant that we know
I feel
of.
like
Does not understand how it works.
sex education is failing everyone right now.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I've been feeling the entire time I've been reading this article. I'm like, do people not have sex ed in the US? Like, I don't understand what's going on.
I think, well, it's all based around, neo pronouns and fake made up gender stuff.
Sure.
And getting kids to talk about who they're attracted to.
Instead of actual biology. And I feel, as the internet's mom, I may have to have a sex education stream. I feel like I think that mom might need to step up to the plate here. Thank you, Dave. The hormone is actually called relaxin, and he would know this because he has a pregnant wife right now.
Oh my goodness.
Dave knows a lot about pregnant women right now. He's going through it, and I just feel like we are really lacking in this
Are
country.
you having twins?
Serious. As far as I know, he is not having twins. Certainly not mouth twins. I think they got pregnant the old-fashioned way.
Dave, did you like my thumbnail? I made her into Voldemort as a pregnant woman. She's like looking at her belly. It's Voldemort because you can't say her name.
Voldemort.
Amazing.
It's
She who must not be named. The other channels are calling her like Jane Doe and stuff. Like, she sent Law Talk with Mike a threat letter, which he read and laughed at on his show. I think he entitled it Laura Owen sends me silly threat letter.
I love that. I love that you just used her name. That's perfect.
Oh yeah, she's definitely a Slytherin. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
This story gets even more crazy, guys. Just wait. So then he spent over $100,000 defending himself from her claims. His evidence included testimony showing that sonogram photos Owens gave Gillespie that were found on a reverse image search from 2014. That was the craziest part of this story. That here it is. Because you have it listed here. Hey, let me go to your actual.
I got my
Twitter
babies
here.
on Pinterest. Was the whole thing.
I got my babies.
Oh my God.
Visit Pinterest.
That is freaking wild. There it is.
So this is the text. Read the text she sent to him. Can you read that? Because it's
crazy. looks like you're gonna be a dad to 1 or 2 babies.
Wait, 1 or 2? Just so she thinks that she can get pregnant with a litter, like she's had sex with 2 guys, like a cat. What is happening in this woman's brain? She needs education immediately. I'm disturbed. 1 or 2.
Maybe 10. Who knows?
Okay.
The luck of the draw. Was sick enough to go to the clinic this afternoon and had to get an ultrasound to make sure I wasn't having an ectopic pregnancy. Wait, what? Okay. I wasn't. I found out that I've been pregnant with twins. Looks like one of them passed or isn't going well. Probably because of the medicine I took. I had the option of a surgical abortion and elected not to. If I'm going through this on my own, I will let God decide if he wants both, one or none to be born. And the kids would deserve to know their father's side of the family. It went
but
on to say, "I'm giving you something, something." I don't know if there's any
I think
more.
it says congratulations on being a dad at the end, which I thought was hilarious. It's like you're
Whoa.
threatening this guy. And this is not Clayton she was writing to. This is a different guy. This is Gillespie.
This
But
is
she did the
Gillespie.
same thing to Clayton. She used a different sonogram in that case, but she did the same thing.
I guess multiple births
Wow.
just run in her family. She just always they're always twins for some reason. I don't know why. No singleton births for her.
But
She's
okay,
very,
so
very fertile, apparently.
okay, so but Clayton, he's in court right now as well, correct?
He is. I
So
believe Gillespie is finally out of court. I don't think he has anything pending now. I think he's finally done with it. He also has a pregnant wife. There are pregnant people all over this story.
there are a lot of pregnancy going on in here. But
Yeah.
so with him though, with the Bachelor dude, like, did they not see these sonograms and were like, well, I mean, clearly you weren't pregnant, lady. Like, what? These are fake. Like,
Well, these are
so
not the ones that she showed to Clayton. These are different ones. So she has a whole set apparently of sonograms that she just keeps, and I don't know, to
she
show
gives
to
it in her back pocket.
random dudes. In Clayton's case, she only showed a positive HCG test and like screenshots. She did have a video of sonograms. You can look at Dave Neal's reporting on that. He's shown the video of the alleged sonograms, which they then found from a 2014 blog that belonged to someone else. Yeah. And she had altered the video. And on the video on the sonogram, it actually had the date that they had their encounter on it instead of the date of her last pregnancy or her last period, which of course
Period.
would be what they would normally do. So it had like the date of the night they had the BJ party.
Jesus
Inst-
Christ.
yeah, I know. It's so hard to talk about this without cracking a lot of immature jokes. I'm
I
trying
know.
hard.
It's so stupid.
I'm
This is
trying
the
hard.
dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen and
I know,
heard.
and yet at the same time, it's like poor Clayton. Like this guy
Yeah.
got caught up in something, and it's not his fault. Like the Bachelor people making cracks about him not being smart or whatever. It wouldn't matter if he was Albert freaking Einstein. If this woman had put her, her sights on him,
Her
he would have.
claws.
What could he do? What exactly could he have done in this situation?
Well, who among us hasn't done something dumb on an edible? And who among us is really immune to the honeypot? The honeypot is a tried and true, like
Right.
method.
Yeah, which one of us hasn't gone home with somebody you probably shouldn't have? Which one of us hasn't done? And then, so to put him up to this standard, like, oh, well, he just should have known better. How many of those Bachelor people are all sleeping with each other, by the
They're
way?
all
They have Bachelor
banging.
Paradise Island. They get on the show specifically to get in the DMs of other Bachelor stars. We all know how this works. Like, let's not pretend.
100%.
Let's not pretend that it's not just one big bang fest, because that's
Yeah.
what they're doing. So how
I
can
mean, I
they hold
figured
him
that's what
up
it
to
was.
some other standard, like where he's, oh, well, he should have known. Oh, how could he have known?
Why is it? It's because it's always the man's fault and the man's responsibility. How about women take responsibility for their actions for a change? I'm so tired of this. You never see women
Thank
just like
you.
owning up and taking responsibility. Yes, I went and I gave this guy 2 blowjobs. Yes, I accused him falsely of being pregnant with my twins because I was lonely and sad and I wanted attention and there's something wrong with my brain. It's not hard. Just own up. Seriously.
Yeah, man.
Right. And
Or
also,
like, don't be
about
a fucking
this.
psycho bitch man trap. Sorry, go ahead.
Clayton it was admitted to being on an edible that he said he wasn't thinking clearly. If she were the one on the edible, we would be saying she couldn't consent.
We would call it
Yes.
grape. It would be grape.
Yes.
It would
That
be
is
grape.
so true, Megan. And that's
Mhm.
something that I've talked to you about with
So
Nick
did he get
before, Nick
graped?
Rekieta. Exactly. So what is the consent situation? Because if he's not of the right mind, like, does that mean that he was raped? Like, is that a
according to
thing?
the current, culture, that is the case. Anyone who is, according to, feminists, if you're drinking alcohol and you are under the influence, you cannot consent.
Yep.
Well, edibles work the same way. He couldn't consent, and so whatever happened there, I think that wouldn't they be looking into him if it were the other way around? Wouldn't the cops already have slapped handcuffs on him?
It's kind of
Yes.
amazing how nobody has mentioned it until just now. I mean, it's really interesting because, you have these situations. I don't know if you've seen this poster, but it's like I saw it like when I was in college. Like, Jake was drunk, Josie was drunk. Jake and Josie had sex. They hooked up. And then the next day, Jake was charged with rape, because Josie could not consent. And
Yep.
it's like, well, what about Jake?
What about Jake?
They were both intoxicated.
If he was
So
intoxicated too, why is only one person incapable of consent?
are they
This is
assaulting
the-
each other? How does it work?
Right. This is the double standard that is so confusing, especially in law, where you can't and this is why men's advocacy has become a big thing nowadays, because it is a double standard for women. It should be there should be clear and concise laws when it comes to what is that word? Abbreviated? I can't speak. When you're
Abbreviated?
Abbreviated men. Like when you're drunk or
Oh,
high or
inebriated.
whatever.
You mean
Inebriated. Thank you.
Yeah.
Inebriated men. Like when you're drunk or high and you cannot consent, it should go both ways. It's not just for the women, it's also for the men. They should have rights as well, because you don't know what you're doing.
Well,
Now,
I personally think that it's not an excuse for anybody. I think if you feel like, I think it's better to say, do not get intoxicated when you're out with strangers. I think you should have
Of
a plan.
course.
And I think you should be with a girlfriend or a guy friend that is a sober driver and is keeping an eye on you if you are going to be drinking. And that's in my book, by the way. I wrote a book about Believe Evidence, the Death of Due Process, from Salome to #MeToo. And I write about how to protect yourself as a college student and what you should be doing and not be doing and how to party correctly so that you don't get in these situations. Because let's face it, there are people out there who will ruin your life over what you think is a consensual moment. And turns out they just decide they regret it in the morning. And oh no, now your career, your whole life is ruined. So it's just better. It's better to be careful and watch your back and make sure you have people who you trust who are watching your back, and don't get into these situations intoxicated.
No, I've actually seen, I have multiple male friends who have been accused who, described the situation to me, and it was very much, she was into it in the moment, and then the next day decided that that was assault. Never gave any indication that it was a problem. It's really horrific, and it's awful to see somebody that going through that.
Of
And
course.
that's part of why I was inspired to look into this stuff, because I didn't realize how prevalent it was. But a lot of men are falsely accused, and I care a lot about those stories. And there are a lot of men who, they will lose everything in their lives, every opportunity. Because even if they're acquitted, people will still think, oh, well, he got off easy. The jury just couldn't make a decision. It was just he said, she said. She couldn't prove it, but he definitely did it, because if there was a question, he's got to be guilty, right? And he will never be able to remove that black stain. He will always have a mark on him. It will destroy his name for the rest of his life.
It's life ruination, and that's why it really pisses me off when women do stuff like this, because it's like you're literally trying to destroy another person's life. And it's unbelievable that
And
some
she gets to
women
be
actually
Jane
get away
Doe.
with it.
She gets to be Jane Doe, and he has to
she
have
gets
his
to be
name.
anonymous, and his name
Exactly.
gets dragged through the mud. And you know what? Even today, after all of this has been out, the Sun and everybody who's reported on the updates are still claiming that she is anonymous. And it's like, no, she's not. She's not fucking anonymous. She posted her own article naming herself as the woman under her name with her picture. And for the Sun and People magazine to claim that the woman in this story is still anonymous, they are a bunch of cowards. They are cowards and they are liars. They know damn well who she is, and they know damn well she doxed herself, and they know damn well that her name is on the public court records, and there is no excuse for them not to name her at this point.
Absolutely. There's no excuse. Now, Megan, I noticed it's been an hour. Do you still want to should we go
finish this up? We can finish it up. We're good.
Okay. Former Bachelor star Echard, the current target of Owens' litigation spree, was accused of fathering more twins with her after an incident that has been described as oral sex with Owens after she used his realtor service to show her houses. Wow, this is a gong show. I guess this is probably the best case ever for women not to swallow. Although usually, I mean, you always hear that you should. But my God, if she hadn't, there would never be a baby.
No,
there wasn't a baby ever already, but
she claims you'll have to listen to the interview on Nick Vile's show with Clayton, because she claims that it was because of grinding.
what? Like
Mhm.
grinding up against him or whatever?
Mhm.
Like
How did you
just
refer to it, Megan, as at the little crusty Claytons that were
Mhm.
left over on her panties or something like that?
Mhm.
oh my god, like kind of like the famous stain on what's her name? Monica Lewinsky's dress.
Yes.
Okay. So Monica could have gotten pregnant with Bill's baby too, but that didn't work out. So okay, where was I? According to father, blah blah blah. Twins. Shortly after, Owens began texting him, alleging a pregnancy that demanding a relationship with him, or she would go to the press. When she didn't get what she wanted, Owens did go to the press anonymously, and as the Me Too era dictates, the media ran with it and painted Echard as the cad. A judge warned a harassment order to Echard against Owens on November 3rd of this year, finding that she did harass him by threatening to go to the media and sending him over 500 texts and emails after being told to stop. This bitch sounds freaking nuts.
That's stalking. That's just
That
stalking.
is literally, that's so stalking.
If you
Terrifying.
did this as a man, you would be very sternly talked to by police and possibly have charges pressed.
Oh, 100% you would have charges pressed in this day and age. You like they would a person could file a restraining order against you right away. I mean, this is no joke. The family court has still not made her prove paternity. Why?
Good question.
I'm confused.
I want to know too.
Because the family court system is slow as hell. They're filled with judges who are lazy, and everyone knows this. They would rather push it down the road, kick the can down the road, and keep people in court because they're making money. The longer
Oh
they
my
keep
God.
people in court, the more money they make, from the lawyers to the court professionals to the judges. Let's face it, the judges don't give a shit. They have to show up at work every day and hear these cases, whether or not you win or lose, and it doesn't matter to them. And they're lazy. And this judge has been extremely lazy, in my opinion, that she has not forced her to turn over the actual evidence.
This is actually crazy though, Megan, because the heart of this case is the fact that this woman's claiming she's pregnant. So I mean, first things first, let's see if she's pregnant, right? I mean, that's
I know, I
the
can't
first thing that you want to
I can't
do is figure out
believe
if
they
she's
made
pregnant.
him. I cannot, and that's what he said when he went to this parenting plan. He's like, I can't tell you what days I need to take these kids because there are no kids. There is no way that this woman is
There's no
pregnant. So
kids.
can we please just verify that there are kids or no kids before we even go? And that's what should have happened.
How do you proceed with any kind of paternity claim without proving that there are offspring in the first place?
I have no idea.
What it really shows is the family court's deference to women in the most absurd fashion. I mean, it's like the most extreme scenario. It's like a woman who is an obvious liar, who's made false allegations before in the same manner about the same absurd circumstances with a physically improbable, scenario that would not get anybody pregnant, with no sonogram, no medical records, and yet he gets a parenting plan. Seriously. This is how messed up the courts are.
Wild. Well, and the other thing that was so crazy, and this part is not in this article, was I was listening to, I was listening to either Dave go through this or you go through this, Megan, but there was a point in one of the court conversations where she was telling the court the lawyers were telling the court, that the judge and the court, that she's done this before, and the judge wouldn't allow in the previous evidence of her doing this to other men. And I thought that was fucking nuts too, because it's like, why wouldn't she?
In? And I couldn't believe it, but at least in that case, he won. He won his restraining order against her. And the judge, I guess, didn't need that evidence to see that she was harassing him. But I think that if I were the judge in that case, I would have wanted to see that evidence. I think it's very relevant to this case.
I mean, it's absolutely.
I'm curious. So previously with the other boyfriend, were there criminal charges that were filed against her? Was she convicted of something?
No.
Okay, that's kind of a challenge, I think, a little bit. The prior bad acts thing. I don't know.
Well, right, maybe, but I mean, it does show a pattern, though, a pattern of behavior. You could put some of the emails that she sent to Greg Gillespie up next to the emails and text messages she sent to Clayton, which are like exactly the same type of scam. I mean, she's basically a con artist, and she's been playing the same con over and over again, and it shows the pattern of behavior. And any reasonable judge could look at it and go, "Oh, hell no, lady. This stops now."
Right. And that's what it establishes a pattern of behavior. And that's why I was so shocked that they wouldn't allow it in. But this is what happens with the corrupt court system, I guess. I mean, family law is so fucking corrupt, especially in like certain states, man. Like it's nuts. By the way, what state is this in?
Arizona.
Oh man, that's crazy. And now, as more people in the media have started to pay attention, Owens has filed a motion to dismiss her paternity case against Echard, claiming that she is no longer pregnant. Fucking newsflash, guys. She never was, because you can't fucking get pregnant through fucking fellatio. Echard's lawyers have responded to that motion, contesting that and demanding to know how she's no longer pregnant, since Arizona law would require fetal death certificates for terminated pregnancies or miscarriages after 20 weeks. Owens claimed to be at least 24 weeks at a recent court hearing on November 3rd. A hospital abortion clinic physician or midwife shall submit completed fetal death certificate to the state registrar for registration within 7 days after the fetal death for each fetal death occurring in the state after the gestation period of 20 completed weeks, according to Arizona statute 36329. Echard has always maintained that Owens could not have been pregnant because they did not have intercourse. My God. Like, I mean, if I was this dude and I was going to court and just sitting there going like, we did not, like he's like the fucking Bill Clinton, like, I did not have sexual relations with this. I did not stick it in. Like, and the court's like, bro, I'm sorry, but
it's a kangaroo court, truly.
We believe you.
With no Joey's in the pouch.
Megan, you gotta go.
I know.
I
gotta
being
run
here tonight. Megan, before you leave, please give us your final thoughts on this, and of course, plug your channel before you go.
Final thoughts. God, my thoughts and prayers are with Clayton and Greg Gillespie and Mike, the third victim, and anybody else who's out there who wants to maybe talk about this. If you're out there and you've been a victim of this woman, you're welcome to come on my channel. We will believe you. And I think it's important that men hear that from women, especially. They're like, we believe you, because I'm sure they haven't heard that very often. I know they haven't heard it very often. And I think it's something that we need to talk more about. We believe you if you've been abused in these ways. And Clayton had all the evidence, and I'm sure whoever you are out there, you've got it too, and we'll look at it. So thanks so much. You guys can visit me on my YouTube channel. It's at Megan Fox Writer on YouTube and meganfox.locals.com. I'm following the story. We'll be following it till the end. Have fun, girls. If you need me, if you have questions, I'll hang out in the chat for a while.
Perfect. Thank you, Megan. Have a great night. Thanks for coming on.
Good night.
See you next time.
Take
Good night.
care. Everybody check out Megan's channel, and the links are in the description. I put her Twitter and her YouTube channel, so make sure you are subscribed. Thank you so much, Megan. And she's done a great job covering this story. I mean, again, these stories, like, you know, they kind of like fly under the radar, especially when it's not like giant celebrities. Like, you know, when this happens to them, it's really sad because, again, like, we have a society right now where it's just not balanced. Like, we have to be more careful about all these crazy people, really, because both men and women do it. It's not like it's crazy runs in both sexes. You know what I mean? It just hurts a little bit more when it's a woman, because you're like, because I'm a woman, so I'm like, man, these crazy bitches ruin it for everybody. But it's been such a crazy story. let's see what else happened in this story that we haven't gone through. Let me
lot.
go back.
It's a very convoluted, twisty, turny, crazy kind of story.
Crazy. Okay, so his lawyers have also submitted a motion for sanctions, asking the court to punish what they say is a malicious litigation. Petitioner filed the underlying action for an improper purpose without medical evidence to support her claim that she was pregnant and or that she was pregnant by respondent. The motion reads, petitioner could not have become pregnant for the limited encounter that the parties had, therefore premised this entire action on a fiction. My God, she is Lady Voldemort, people. Like this bitch, she's like telling people that she got knocked up through fellatio. I mean, this is wild. And then she says, like, never mind, there's no babies. Like, what the fuck, man? It's because she got caught. Chandler, do you think it's because she got caught that she's like, never mind, there's no babies? Like, because he's like, okay, whatever, let's go to court, bitch. Let's do this.
Nina, honestly, I have no idea how you put yourself in the mindset of a person who does this kind of thing. I cannot relate to it. I cannot understand it. And this is why I like to hold women accountable to the same degree that women hold men accountable, especially feminists, you know? People don't like it when I do that. But with this woman, I cannot understand what's going through her head while she's doing this, but I presume that getting caught is not fun for her. She thinks that she has the right to just accuse with impunity, but she doesn't like cross-examination. And I'm sorry, but if you're going to take somebody, you know, to court, and if there's going to be litigation on your part, cross-examination is kind of a part of it. So
that is a thing, that's for sure. Echard and his attorneys have believed that there was a pregnancy and have alleged that Owens even went as they never believed there was a pregnancy and have alleged that Owens went as far as to wear a fake moon bump in court.
Right, like the one that Meghan Markle allegedly wore. Because there was a picture that Meghan showed on her stream where she's kind of moving it, and it's like up over her boob, and it's just, and it's like, oh wow, she's carrying really high. She must be having boys. Like, I don't know.
Oh my God, I cannot believe this. Like, and this would be solved immediately if the court was just like, okay, we need to have a paternity test. I mean, this is really not that.
You can, like, lift up your shirt and show us you're pregnant.
Show us the actual belly. Would someone poke it? Like, is it real? Oh my God. Okay, so oh my God. The motion for sanctions filed on January 3rd goes to state the petitioner wore a fake stomach moon bump to appear pregnant and claim with no scientific support that she was 24 weeks pregnant with respondents' twins and due on February 14, 2024. A video of Owens with a visibly enlarged middle can be seen on Law Talk with Mike here. Here, let me see if we can kind of show a little bit. Oh my God, she's so crazy, this chick. That's nuts. Here she is. So there she is. Let me go full screen.
I love how she's getting herself in frame so you can see that she's pregnant.
You could kind of see it. Oh my
it's like
God.
Way too high up. You can tell. It's like really sticking out of like right here, like barrel chest.
Oh my God. This woman is wild. Okay. Megan just said, I'll send Nina the weird photo by Twitter DM. Okay, let's see. Hold on, let me check this.
The worst thing about this, Nina, is that this isn't the first time I've seen something like this happen. Like, I kind of like have cataloged these stories over the years, and there are a number of women who have done things like this, like the fake pregnancy thing on a repeated basis. It's Legal Vice that says those are not the boobs of a 5-month pregnant woman. I agree. Yeah, no.
Nope. They are not. They are not. I'm just saying this woman's full of shit. I mean, this is so crazy. But I think what's also even more full of shit to me is the court system, because this could easily just be like, it's solved in a matter of minutes. Just be like, we need a paternity test. Like, where is this paternity test at? Why don't we have one already? Because if there was one, you could just see one like
I'm trying to
immediately. It'd be
remember.
like,
Well, with paternity tests, I'm trying to remember, there's like a certain point. So it used to be that you could only take them after the baby was born. Now I think you can take them during pregnancy, but it takes a little while. And so I'm not sure at what point you can take a paternity test during pregnancy, but
okay.
if she qualified for one, they should have ordered one. 24 weeks might be early. I'm not entirely sure, but
Okay,
I
here's
think that what you need to do is just require hospital records. Just be like, yeah, this doctor gave me a blood test and said that I was pregnant.
oh boy, here's the photo that Megan just sent me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Look at this. What kind of belly is this?
That's not human anatomy. Like, if she had a tumor, maybe, that would be like logical conclusion, but she looks like she's got like, I don't know, some like watermelon-sized tumor on her.
Oh my God. Yeah, fetal DNA is pretty damning. That is true.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so she did apparently take a pregnancy test that showed that she had high HCG levels, and apparently she took it like in front of Clayton, or like, it like in a like behind a closed door near Clayton or something like that. But she's also taking an anti-seizure medication that can increase your HCG.
Oh
So,
my God.
that I mean, it's
So
really
they don't
weird.
know.
It's really, I mean, there was like an actual positive pregnancy test, but no fetal DNA. So like it's just really, it's very apparent. I don't
But it
think
could be like a fake positive. I mean, you get fake positive pregnancies all the time. I mean, that happens. That's why they go, you go to the doctor to,
or it's
confirm the pregnancy.
HCH. I might be getting the acronym wrong. I've never been pregnant. I don't know what you call things.
Yeah, me either. I
Yeah.
don't know these
I don't know
names.
any of this
Okay,
stuff.
hold on. But that picture, I'm just dude.
The belly is just, yeah, you gotta push it down a little bit, sweetheart.
HCH. Thanks,
HCH.
Linz.
Yes, appreciate that.
Thank you.
HCG is something else.
My goodness. This is such a crazy story.
It's really weird. And the weirdest part, I think, is that she expects people to believe all of it.
Well, because she's a woman. She's just like, you gotta believe me, man. I'm a woman. No, I can't. Oh, HCG.
Oh, it is HCG. Okay, I don't know. One of
People are
those.
saying HCG.
One of those acronyms.
Dude, it's either way. I just think it's wild that we still don't know. I mean, and then she's like, it's gone. Like there's no baby.
Oops.
And this is all in court. It's already in court. It's not even like it's before court. It's like, oh, sorry, I'm not actually pregnant. It's like, what?
But I totally was. Can we see a sonogram? No, just trust me, bro.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like, what is even the point? Okay, so now that there's no babies, exactly, where are the babies? But now that there's no babies, what do you want? Okay, there's no babies. Okay, so that's done. That means there's no father, there's no mother, there's nothing. That means there's nothing going on. So why is there still a freaking lawsuit happening? And like, you should be basically dropping it and telling this guy to go live his life. And sorry, I bothered you.
Well, no, that's what she's doing, but the problem is that she, created this litigation in the first place, and that she destroyed his reputation. And so I think that there should be legal action on his part against her.
Yes.
For a number of things, for defamation, for fraud. I mean, the way that she has tried to wreck his reputation and his career, this woman is psychotic. There is something deeply wrong with her. Her parents have enabled her to get to this level. She's been, I know that she's had some mental health issues. She's been hospitalized.
Clearly.
Clearly
there's mental health issues.
And, it's just, she's the kind of person who, like, I mean, clearly, like with her family, like she's wrapped, how is it? Is she wrapped around their finger, or are they wrapped around her finger? One of those things. One of those metaphors. The father is totally subservient to her. He's like, oh, just like do, whatever it takes to make her happy and keep her from self-unaliving. Like, she's the one who kind of, threatens self-harm if people don't do what she wants. And she's a piece of work.
Megan says she wants to drop it, but he wants to prove that there were never babies. You know what? I wouldn't stop until this woman is exposed. If I was him, if somebody did that to my life, I would not stop until people knew that she's a liar.
Well,
like, I would sue.
It's criminal. It's like,
it is criminal.
It's what she's done, what she did to her previous boyfriend. That was criminal. And of course, she's not going to be charged with it, right? In this case, there are criminal charges. She should absolutely, I mean, that this is fraud. And there is,
It's
I mean, there are civil charges, there are defamation charges, certainly. And you know, I don't know. The challenge is that she's never going to get charged with anything. She's never going to be convicted of anything, even though she's brought this to the court system. You would think,
well,
it would
she
have
should.
quickly.
It like even if it doesn't get to a criminal thing, he should take her to civil court and sue her, like
At
for
the very least,
defamation and
or defamation,
yeah,
certainly. Yeah,
yeah, and for whatever else. I mean, like I'd sue her for the attorney's fees. I'd sue her for defamation. I'd sue her for freaking everything she's got, man. She would be left with nothing.
Well, he can get damages because the thing is that she has intentionally chosen to destroy his reputation through this story. And the problem is that he's going to lose out on a lot of work opportunities because of her. You can count damages from the times that she's called people to say, this guy's speaking at your event and he shouldn't. So, you know, because my mental health is in jeopardy and he got me pregnant. Okay. So count that towards damages. Literally whatever amount he would have earned from speaking at that event, gone completely. Any work opportunity gone because people don't want to hire him. There are measurable damages here. She really does need to pay up. This is ridiculous.
And I want to address this real quick because it says Saint Dodo is saying that we hate women. Look, first of all, I love myself and I'm a woman.
I love women too.
And I love Chandler. We're women. We're talking to each other. And I love people like Megan. And I have very good female friends like Anna, that Star Wars girl, Christy Mayer. I mean, I have a lot of female friends online and, of course, offline. And I love and respect women, actual women who are not psychotic. I don't like psychopaths. And they come in all shapes and sizes, races is what I meant. Races.
Just one letter off.
Just one letter off. Races, all of them. Like psychopathic people is what I don't like. And I think that there's only two genders, so they only come in two genders as well. Psychopathic men and psychopathic women. And they're both shitty. And there's a famous book, maybe you've read it, maybe you haven't. It's called Macbeth. You should read that book because it's about the original psychopathic woman who basically manipulated a man into killing people and doing all sorts of shit for him. So they exist. Okay. They exist. And that's what I have a problem with. So it's not that I hate women. I just hate psychopathic women. Legal Vices is like, I love women. I know.
That.
Maybe you love them a little too much. So you would get fellatio pregnant. Okay. You need to calm down.
Oh
Jeff.
my God.
Some woman is going to come along. Although, you know what? Never mind. Because you live in Korea and they're not as crazy over there as they are in the West.
Not?
I mean, look at these fucking crazy ass bitches, man. I'm telling you.
On what you were saying, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I've been, called a pick-me, accused of having internalized misogyny. That's not what's going on. I love women so much that I date them half the time. I'm attracted to women. And I don't think that you can really call a bisexual a misogynist, but maybe you can. Okay, if you can. The reason that I like to call out women who are harmful is because women are harmful in a really specific way. And it's something that only women really understand and can really speak to. And when we see it, it makes us angry because we understand the impulse behind it to a degree. And we don't want women like that representing our gender.
Exactly.
And it's egregious. And so I like calling it out because I like holding women to the same standard that feminists hold men to.
Yeah.
It's kind of just, if you're gonna do the equality thing, go all the way, baby. Hold everybody accountable. Make everybody take responsibility for their actions.
I mean, I do. I want to hold women accountable for their actions, especially because like I said, it makes me just extra angry for women for men who are going through this, and because we're going through a time right now where for some reason this divide between men and women has become exponential again because of, I mean, I guess years of feminism has taken its toll, but also now this like male version of feminism is a thing called the manosphere. So like it's one of those things. Yeah, people are bringing up Bronca, but my God, I mean, he's one of those black-filled manosphere people. So it's just like it though that's the equivalent of feminism, but for men. It's like literally promoting all the bad things you could ever tell a man is that. So because of that, things are at a divide at the bit like as more than they've ever been in pretty much all of our like modern era that we've been, since feminism became a thing. I just feel like this just giant divide is constantly putting us at each other's throats, and everything is like, oh, like men suck. Like every day.
Don't talk about throats, Nina. It's not the time.
Oh no, not getting throat pregnant.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
No, that's good. But it's just like one of those things where it's like I constantly hear like, oh, women suck, and then like the other women are like, men suck and women suck, and I'm turning into a lesbian because I hate men and I don't want to date men anymore, and like guys are like, these fucking 304s are fucking terrible, and like nobody should get married ever, and like it's just a constant like back and forth between the sexes, and it's like, no, it's what's going on, and the problem is the psychopathy that is going on, and these people that are giving these messages out to these younger generation is just actually wild.
It's exhausting. And it makes me really concerned because like when I was in college, I was never a feminist, and I took one gender studies class and I worked really hard in that class. And I came out of it like brainwashed into feminism for a minute. And then once the Depp Heard trial came around, I started looking into stuff. I started realizing I was wrong. But with what you're saying, Nina, it's like I really think the problem is that the sexes are disparaging one another. And then you have the sexes disparaging themselves. And when you see, and like, I mean, and like I've worked with Pearl. I've gone on her channel, and
wow, you have?
Yeah, I have. On the Audacity Network, I've been on 3 different panels on her channel. She was only there for one of them. And I have feelings about Pearl. But generally speaking, like the one thing, and I will say this to her face, that I really dislike is that she disparages women. There's no need for it. And I, because I don't do that. And I don't like that. I don't like disparaging anybody unless I'm calling out specific behavior that's harmful, which is why all of the like the Cakegate stuff was so stupid to me, because like I'm on the internet to call out women for things like rape, murder, molestation, abuse. I don't care about having boobs, baking a cake, posting a thirst trap. Like it doesn't matter. Like
make a calendar.
People are gonna do whatever they're gonna do, but it's just like there is egregious behavior that we should care about that's harmful to society. Yes, call out those people, but calling out women for what? Like dressing provocatively, wearing stuff that's short, being over 40. And wanting to look cute and be recognized and have attention, like who cares? I don't like that, and I think it's really harmful. And when women do it to each other, it just gives men that excuse to do it as well. It's just it's never okay.
And Saint Dodo says, take your view to most Islam countries. Dude, I was born in an Islamic country. I was born in Iran. Okay, I know exactly how the deal goes. Why do you think I'm so against this crazy idea of insane feminism that's man-hating? Because of that, because it all goes back to extremism, my friend, and that's exactly what happens when you have extremist points of views. But let's finish up.
Sure.
Megan's article. We don't have that much left. So the moon. So she pretended to have fucking a pregnant belly. I mean, this is freaking crazy. Perhaps the best evidence that Owens was never pregnant to begin with is 2 paternity tests that reportedly showed little to no fetal DNA, according to legal findings. Owens claims a 3rd test went missing in transit and has refused to take a 4th test. But if she was pregnant, the state of Arizona should investigate what happened to the alleged babies she now says don't exist. And I think that's pretty much it. Owens has spent the last several months sending threatening letters to anyone who reports on this public case, which could explain why so many in the entertainment media have remained silent despite all the evidence that points to Owens as a serial accuser. The entertainment media has not picked up on the story. They should. This is fucking wild. This case was too heavy for celebrity gossip channels and not big enough for national media, Neil told PJ Media. But anyways, you guys get the drift. This is crazy and it's still ongoing. So make sure you keep an eye on Megan's channel, and of course Neil, subscribe to Neil. So other people that are covering this case. I think Tug is going to be covering it now, which is good. It's going to bring more eyes on it. So that's what we need. I think we need more eyes on stuff like this, so that when she's publicly shamed basically for doing this kind of stuff, maybe she'll stop doing it, because at least in the court of public opinion, which matters a lot, she'll get some sort of there'll be some sort of ramifications for doing this kind of stuff, which I believe is bullshit.
Agreed. And more eyes on it, including Legal Vice's audience. Legal Vices is also covering this.
That's right, of course. Why? And how could I forget Legal Vices with his little cute puppers? But thank you guys for being here tonight. I also wanted to discuss real quick some other new bit of news that was really messed up. But before we get into that, real quick, I want your thoughts on this, because this is a legal matter.
What do you got?
And I was just like, the fuck? Because this is dumb. We're totally changing topics, guys. Totally changing topics. It is now something different. Okay, here we go. This was, I saw this the other day, and it says that Take-Two has filed a trademark dispute saying that Remedy's new logo is too similar to the Rockstar Games logo. And I thought this was the dumbest thing I've ever freaking seen in my life, because the only thing that are similar are the letter R. And I was like, how can you even, there's no stars in this. There's nothing, even the font is different. I mean, you've got the little curve in the R. So how can these people claim that they have a freaking dispute over this letter?
It's not gonna hold water. I mean, there's nothing similar about it visually, derivatively. You can't copyright the letter R. Nobody has a copyright on that.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, can you copyright a letter? I mean, I guess Can you trademark a letter? I mean, I guess maybe you can, because isn't Elon Musk trademarking X?
I don't think that you actually can trademark a letter. Now, I could be incorrect about this. I have done work with copyright laws. Like my first job in a law office ever, I did a lot of work with copyrights, but it was in the film industry. And so different areas of copyright are very specific and particular. So I don't know anything about copyright law for YouTube and the internet. So I have to learn that now that I'm trying to stream more. But to my knowledge, I mean, there are certain phrases that you cannot copyright, or words, that are kind of in general parlance. I do not think that you can copyright a letter, as far as I'm aware, but somebody can tell me if I'm incorrect about that. There is nothing similar about these two logos. What are these two companies?
Well, this is Rockstar. This is the world famous video game company. It's the Grand Theft Auto games. Have you ever heard of Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I'm not a big video game person, but I know people who love playing it. So
yeah, I mean, I love playing it, but Grand Theft Auto is their biggest game. It's called Rockstar. Remedy, I don't even know what the fuck Remedy is. Honestly, I don't even know. What the hell is Remedy? Let's see. Remedy, the company.
This is a very silly
game. Yeah, it's also a video game company, but God knows what video games they've made, because I don't even fucking know.
I don't think this dispute is worth the paper it's written on. This is completely absurd.
Oh, they made Alan Wake, Control, Quantum Break. I mean, who cares? Nobody, dude. Remedy, you're going up against Rockstar. Get the fuck out of here, man. You're going up against Grand Theft Auto. Come on. That is just ridiculous.
This is pointless and a waste of time. There's nothing visually similar about the logo whatsoever. The size is different. There's text on one. The color is different. The italicization changes it. The R on the right hand, obviously, is broken up. I mean, it's
I mean,
Anybody with
if they
eyes.
had some stars around here or something, or like if they had put like a star here, I'd be like, well, I
Mm.
guess like you could make a point about it like having a star like here or something. Or even if it was here or anywhere, really, if you had put a star on there, I'd be like, okay, well, I could see why Rockstar would be pissed. But there's nothing, there's no similarities. The color schemes aren't the same. There's just the letter R.
What
It's
do the
just
comments say? I'm curious.
okay, let's see. Let's see. So they own the letter R, huh?
Exactly.
The bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them. They look absolutely nothing alike. It's a letter. Whoever filed this has an eye problem. That's funny. They're gonna lose that case. Since when did they own the letter R?
Yeah, see, it's ridiculous. It's absurd.
Oh, here's another company that has like Rareware. If you can trademark a fucking letter of the alphabet, then Rare should sue both of them. That is true. Extremely common Rockstar L. Well, it's not Rockstar's problem, guys. It's not this. That's the one thing. This guy's not getting it right. This is the company that they're their logo,
This
which
is just plain stupid. That's my comment. That's my legal commentary is that it's stupid.
It's what was the comment? Take Two. It's Take Two, not Rockstar that's doing this. Take Two is retarded. Maybe R should be standing for retarded.
Retarded.
Sue the alphabet. Oh, I forgot that we had a $2 super chat from Russell Hall who said fully closed hymens are a thing. Wow, ew, Russell.
Isn't it funny when there's something like from way earlier in the show when something totally different was going on. Now it's just a total non sequitur.
Yeah, you're like,
yes,
Rockstar, hymens. Oh my God, this
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make any sense. But okay, let's see. There was, oh my God, I just saw that freaking article. Oral sex, a knife fight, and then sperm still impregnated girl.
I'm never going to get over that. I have been traumatized.
I'm
going to sue
Megan
for traumatizing for intentional infliction of emotional distress.
This wild. Okay, this is the other topic I wanted to talk about because it's a little bit weird. Now, okay, so what kind of law do you actually practice in?
So essentially, I have worked in entertainment and I've also worked in venture capital. But entertainment is my main bag. I also
entertainment is your main bag. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, I started out, I have a lot of background in the film industry. I've grown up like in LA my entire life. I know a lot of people who are involved in it. So it's just kind of one of those things about, being an Angelino. And that was my first legal job. And I worked in film, in theater. I also worked for Law of Self-Defense for Branca for a little while. And he does criminal law, so he does criminal defense.
Wait, so he hired you, but you're a girl?
Yeah, no, he likes me because I'm not a feminist. We get along pretty well. It's interesting.
you get along well because he like you. I guess like you're not a total feminist. I guess. I mean, you have some feminist worldviews. I feel like. I mean, since I've talked to you, it's you have like more of a traditional feminist point of view, kind of like the way I do. That like feminism should be just about like equality, like meaning just a human right as like to just be able to like live your life.
Yeah, I mean, I like equality, but I feel like feminism has gone it's like go home feminism, you're drunk. Like it's just gone so far over the rails. And it's just when I see feminism today, I feel like it necessarily includes misandry. And misandry has completely poisoned it to the point where the idea of calling yourself a feminist is really problematic. And I also think that there are a lot of aspects of traditional feminism. I mean, I studied feminism in an academic context. I read bell hooks. I read Audre Lorde. I've read, a lot of the academic texts related. And I think that there are so many problems with feminist models. The Duluth model, for example, it's not really about equality because it does not acknowledge and recognize when men are harmed. And it's based on this, false notion that men are impervious to harm, which is just not true. I don't think that feminists have a realistic worldview. I do like equality, though. I don't think men and women are necessarily equal, but I do think that they should be treated equally.
Yeah, meaning That's what I mean is that like the true like the originals the idea of feminism was just about, just women having the right to exist like equally to men, meaning like we don't need permission to go out, outside, or like, we don't need permission to understand how to dress, or like, there's just very basically the freedom of choice to live your life the way that you want to live your life, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's the original premise. Of course it became something completely mutated, and it, I would say de-evolved, not evolved into what it is today. But but originally that's what it was. It was just to have a freedom of choice.
In a sense, yes. But I mean, I've gone back and I've looked at very early feminist writings, and there has been really intense misandry from the beginning of, like early movements, like Valerie Solanas, for example. I don't know if
Mhm.
you're familiar with her. Um, who wrote like the Society for Cutting Up Men, the Scum Manifesto, and she thought that all men should be killed, basically. And
Sure, I mean,
she was
those are the
like really
crazy
intense.
feminists.
Well, but there are a lot of women like that, like, Andrea Dworkin, and, there are a number of feminists who have put out some really, really misandrist views, and I think that it's really problematic because it's hypocritical. It does not
Yeah.
really advocate for equality. We should, if you're, see, and I mean, it's even in the name, but like, here's the thing. I love women. I advocate for women. I care about women. And my first career choice as an attorney, I wanted to be an international human rights lawyer because I wanted to defend women who had experienced systemic abuse. I was
Mhm.
inspired by a class I took about the Maghreb region in Africa during Arab Spring and the Moroccan women who had been assaulted for women, and I've done that in my life until I realized that men went through essentially the same thing, and that being male didn't protect them.
Mm.
So I believe in equality and I care about women a lot. I just think that we need to take a step back and look at what feminism has become.
Mhm,
And I think it has
definitely.
become too enmeshed with misandry, with, abuse and hatred of men, and making excuses
Agreed.
for superiority to the point where I cannot endorse it anymore.
Of course, I agree. I agree to all of that, but I feel like I just feel like the other side has come full circle to where like now we have these movements like I was talking about with the manosphere,
Mhm.
which Branca is a big part of. So that's why I'm kind of surprised that he even has like hired a woman, because he seems to hate women. Like he's gone to the other side where like these dudes like just actually hate women now, like, and they're constantly talking about how women suck, and constantly talking disrespecting and talking about how they're just terrible people and they should never be with anybody. So that's the kind of stuff that I like. I'm actually fascinated by the fact that you guys get along. Like I think that's really
It's it's
interesting.
it's funny because when I first encountered him, I don't think I really knew who he was, and I saw some tweets of his. And I thought the same thing about him, like, oh, who's this like super misogynistic guy, like, but then the more that I listened to him, the more that I realized, like, we ended up like having a conversation and connecting. And for one, I think that a lot of the stuff that, I mean, he does say things that are misogynistic, and he
Yes,
does
he
say things that
does.
I would never say about men. Um, and there are certain things where I see that, there are some inconsistencies in the way that he presents himself. But there's a difference between the way he presents himself and the person that he really is. And I mean, I've
Mm.
I've met his wife. His wife is a lovely, lovely person. They have a beautiful marriage.
Oh my god, when
Has
he said he had a wife, I was like, wait, you're married? Like that
he is
was
I mean,
the
and he
whole
has and he has daughters too, and he's very deferential to her, and he's incredibly giving and kind and generous and loving to her. And,
Mhm.
a lot of what he says online, I think, is really a lot of posturing, because the way that he treats women, he has never done a single sexist thing towards me ever in the entire time that I've known him. He's given me opportunity. I worked for him for 3 months as a paralegal. He's, given me free, like classes for,
Mhm.
American law courses. And, I don't agree with everything that he says. And I think there are some things that he pushes that it's like, okay, you need to like take it down a
Just
notch.
calm
But
down.
but I mean, it's just part and parcel to being in this sphere, because I'm like, I happen to, plummet into the manosphere somehow. I don't know how I ended up there. And it's like, it's weird, but it's like, I see men saying hateful things about women. I've blocked a lot of hateful men, but women say hateful things about men too. I just think like,
Of course,
as
of
long as
course,
people
that
aren't being hateful, like
it's
I don't
both
agree with that.
ways. It's
Yeah.
it's both ways, and it's gross when it's from both both people. To be fair, now, like the kind of I've had a few conversations with Bronca, and we've got into a fight pretty much every time that we've talked to each other.
I
But to
remember.
be fair, every time that I have talked to him, he's been drunk. So I feel like maybe if we actually ever had a conversation where he was sober and he could actually like hear what I'm saying, that maybe we would be able to like have, find common ground.
Mhm.
So I think that's been part of the problems,
Well,
that every
there's a
time I've
trick
talked
to
to
it.
him, he's been
So
drinking.
I did a stream, so I was doing this stream called F Feminism a while back, and I
Mhm.
did weekly episodes, and there was one week where I had him on, and we just talked about feminism, and, the trick with Branka is that if you just listen to what he says and you don't really challenge him, he softens up later, and so we got into this whole thing where he was, saying all these things about women that were, really stereotypical, and then he's like, "Well, when I'm talking about women, I don't mean you." Which I
No,
thought
I
was
know he
so
always
funny.
says that though. Like
Yeah.
he was saying that to me too. And honestly,
Mhm.
that kind of like annoyed me even more, because I was like, well, I mean, you just basically insulted my entire sex, but you don't mean me. So gee, thanks, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. But he just comes off very brash, I guess. But I like I said, every time I've talked to him, I feel like he's been drinking. So I don't think I get the full picture of like, what he actually represents. But and also I think you're right, like in a sense of like people have personalities on YouTube and online versus what they are in real life. And I'm sure he's like a kind father and husband. And I mean, he talks about his wife very lovingly. So that's why I'm like, it surprises me when I'm like, wait,
And
you're
she's based.
married? Like,
She's a really
yeah.
cool lady. I've met her, she's awesome.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure she would have to be to put up with him. Like, no offense, but I mean, my God, she's like a trooper if that's her husband.
I know he
Um,
says all those things. I know he gets into all of that stuff, but I mean, I swear he's genuinely he's been so supportive of me. He's a really caring person and he is very, very different. I mean, he's got a soft side. I'm just
Aw, he's like
it's
a little old man that should be like, the kind old uncle or grandpa or whatever, but he's just sometimes he's kind of spicy. He can be really spicy.
He can definitely
Um,
get spicy, especially, if Drex is around or, they encourage each other and they feed off their energy and they say the
oh
same stuff over
no.
and over when they get drunk. And, but, if you get him talking about a different kind of subject, I mean, he actually, he's lived a really interesting life. I mean, I think he graduated from Harvard. He was a
Mhm,
mechanic. He's done all of these different kinds of jobs and stuff. I mean,
mhm.
he's been in really unique areas of work that he has an interesting
I
life
mean, he's
story.
pretty fascinating because I mean, like, also what he does for a living is really fascinating. Like the whole like self defense situation.
Yeah, and he
But
teaches in the
also,
prison states, how to defend yourself, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
I've
so.
listened to like a lot of his shows with Nick, like because I watched Nick Rekieta, so I've seen him like on the channel, and when they talk about the certain cases, like he's very intelligent. I mean, obviously he knows what he's talking about for a lot of times. I just don't agree with him when it comes to the manosphere. I think we're like completely at different ends when it comes to that.
I know,
Um,
but see, here's the trick, Nina. Whether you agree with him or not isn't really what matters. He just wants to be right. And so I've known people like that. Maybe this is the benefit of growing up in a family. I had a grandmother who was like this. And if sometimes when you just let people be right and you just listen to them, then they'll calm down
but
and they'll
they're
start being on
not
the
right,
offensive.
Chandler.
Well, but being right isn't always the thing. I don't agree with everything he says, but I love him. I actually think he's a wonderful because he's an honest person. I mean, he's better than
Yeah,
male
he is.
feminists who are gonna lie to you
Oh,
about all kinds
definitely,
of bullshit. I appreciate his honesty because it's
definitely.
really refreshing, and
He's very frank.
I always
He's
enjoy that about him.
Yeah, he is very frank. Um, you know who else you should talk to, by the way, about feminism, who is
Mm,
not a fan? I mean, I've gotten into debates with him a few times, but
who?
he's great. Flawed. Have you heard of him?
I haven't. Who?
Flawed. His name is
Flawed.
Flawed, Flawed TV.
Oh,
I think it's
Flawed.
Flawed
Okay.
TV. Yeah, Flawed. And it's really cute because he actually, him and his wife run a channel together. And they're super cute couple, and they do like rap videos, and they're just like a great couple. But he is like insanely like just anti-feminism and like just hates feminists. And like I've gotten into a couple debates with him, but it's been just like, you know,
Ooh.
organic debates, and we love each other, and we're like really good friends.
That would
Yeah,
be interesting.
Flawed is amazing as he is. And he loves hot dogs, so you can call him Glizzy.
I've never eaten a hot dog.
What?
That's a fact about me.
Like never ever?
No, because I was raised vegetarian, and they're just like, so eventually I started eating meat, but they're just like a handful of random things I still haven't tried, and a hot dog is one of them. I've had vegan hot dogs. I've not had a real hot dog ever in my life.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm weird. I'm really weird, Nina.
Oh my God, that is so wild. I mean, I think you should definitely try one at some point in your life. They're not the best thing ever. I'm not going to lie. Like, I mean, they're kind of disgusting in some ways because it's just processed foods. I mean, they're not really good for you, but you still got to try it at one point in your life just to say, I've had a hot dog, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've had like bratwurst, and I've gone to like, those places that have like, like currywurst, and like those, I mean, like absolutely delicious gourmet. I've just never had like a regular hot dog.
That's so crazy. Are you still a vegetarian?
No, I mean, I tend to eat more vegetarian because it's what I'm used to, but I do really like meat. The problem is like I don't really know how to cook meat. So like my mom was a vegetarian, and she was like, I don't know how to cook it. If you want it, you can eat it. But I'm not going to cook it for you. And so I never figured out really like how to cook meat. And so I prefer to just like go to restaurants or have somebody else cook for me. I should probably get over that because I love cooking. I'd love to know how to make like a perfect steak. I think Legal Vices has a video on like how to cook steak like a man, and like I'm not opposed. I'm not
my God, girl, this is how you cook a steak. I'll tell you right now. You get an iron cast, whatever, what's it called?
Cast iron
thing.
Yeah.
You put it 30-second on one side, 30-second on the other. You put some salt on it, and you call it a day. That's how you cook a steak, okay? Because you don't want it to be well done. And you sure as hell, like you want it to be like between raw and medium, okay? Because you want that beautiful red in the middle, okay? You don't want it well done, especially if it's a good cut of steak. That's all you need to do. You just sizzle it on one side, sizzle it on the other, 30-second each side. If you really, really, really need it to be a little bit more, you can do like a minute of each side. But really, like what you want is that beautiful pink and right in the middle. Okay.
That sounds perfect. I do like my steaks like between rare and medium rare.
Yeah.
That was
just look at it. Like you could just eye it. You just eye it, and it's like, you can see it getting cooked, and then you're like, oh, okay. Like, if you don't want it too much bloody, you just let it cook a little bit more, and that's it. That's it. You call it a day. It's great.
Sounds perfect. Okay. That shouldn't be too hard.
It's really easy. It's really easy.
I should eat my steak. I'm like, I'm iron deficient. I have like slight anemia, and I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna have to eat steak. Okay, so now I know how. Thank you.
I can't do pink on my steak, says Grumpy. Okay, well then you gotta let yours cook for like 2 minutes. Just flip it one side 2 minutes, the other side 2 minutes. Yeah, with butter. I mean, don't even like oh my God, do not cook it in like canola oil and some shit like that. Like no vegetable oil, no canola oil. What you want to be using is possibly if you really have to, avocado oil, or just what's it called? Ghee.
Okay. But I mean, it has fat that renders out, right? So it's not like you really need extra fat. This is my problem, So like I'm in a position right now, like, okay, Vivek dropped out. I liked Vivek. And I just registered Republican.
Oh, yeah.
And this is my question. Like, I never voted for Trump. And I don't want to vote for Biden, but I don't know how I can vote for a man that cooks and eats his steak the way that Trump takes his steak. That's disturbing.
What how does Trump take his steak? I don't know.
Well done with ketchup. I'm not joking.
Oh my God, are you
like
serious?
cooked through the middle. It's a fact. And this was like, and I've known this for years, and I don't know if it affected my decision to not vote for him previously, but I think it's a good reason.
My God, do the Republicans know this? Because
I'm
I
not-
feel like
if they knew, I don't know if he would be polling so well. I mean, with
I really don't think so.
oh,
I really don't think so. That is wild. At least Trump has teeth and can eat steak. Okay, that's fair. Speaking of crazy times going on in the US. So this is one of the things that I saw come up, and this is an ongoing story. This has been going on for a couple days now. And I gotta say, there's been an actual media blackout on this story, because I was trying to find updates to the story. The story broke like 5 days ago, and I've been trying to find updates to the story, and I found one today by CNN, of all fucking places. I know. What a bullshit place to find this article at. Let Nina, what are you talking about?
I don't
Huh?
know. I'm confused. Jeff, what does that mean?
I don't know what
where?
you're talking about, Jeff. Oh, he means like the border crossing. Fuck you, Jeff. I am a Canadian. Okay, I fly in. I don't come through the freaking border. Okay, damn it. Look at the writers of this article. Bunch of winners right here.
Who wrote it?
I don't know. They all look like feminists. Alicia Abrahajimi, Rosa Flores, and Sarah Westerfeld. You needed 3 women to write this article? My God. Okay. Anyways, here we go.
Why couldn't one woman do the job? Is one woman not good enough? You had to get 3.
My God.
That's ridiculous.
It's fucking wild. Okay, so here's the story. It says a migrant surge continues to overwhelm authorities at the U.S.-Mexico border and in U.S. cities where many asylum seekers are being sent. Here's the latest development. So the Biden administration has given Texas until the end of the day, Wednesday, that is tonight, that is now, basically, as we speak, to stop blocking the U.S. Border Patrol access to 2.5 miles long. Now, wait, Texas is actually on Central Time, so they have probably 1 more hour to stop blocking the U.S. Border Patrol access to 2.5 miles along the U.S.-Mexico border that includes the area where a woman and 2 children drowned after state authorities last week barred federal agents from the zone.
Wow.
According to the Department of Homeland Security letter Sunday exclusively obtained by CNN. Now, this is the interesting part, okay? Because a few days ago, like I said, this article or this story kind of dropped like 5 days ago, and then it went to like dead silent until this news hit about these women and 2 children that drowned. Now, my conspiracy theory mind, Chandler, went immediately to they probably killed them. Okay, like the feds probably had these bitches killed so that they can and these poor kids. So that they end up in the news, because that is the only way. That CNN started covering this and other outlets started covering it, because the only other things that the outlets are covering are that the women and 2 children drowned there because the feds weren't allowed.
This is
or whatever.
disturbing.
The letter to Texas Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton says that the state's actions have impeded operations and are unconstitutional, and it cites the deaths among the latest in the ongoing migrant crisis near a city park abutting the Rio Grande and Eagle Pass, where state authorities have erected fencing and kept out federal agents. They've kept them out. This is crazy. This I don't think this has ever happened before. The Department of Homeland Security warns it will, by the end of Wednesday, refer the matter to the Department of Justice for appropriate action and consider all other options available to restore Border Patrol's access to the border. What does this mean? Refer to the action. What does that even mean?
It sounds like a coup. I don't know. It's very disturbing.
What is consider all other options available? That means like shooting people,
I
isn't it?
I would presume it would, yeah.
Holy shit.
It
If
sounds
Texas doesn't confirm, it will cease and desist its effort to block border patrols and access and around the Shelby Park area and remove all barriers to access to the U.S.-Mexico border, the letter states. Texas's failure to provide access to the border persists even in instances of imminent danger to life and safety. This is why they're saying this, okay, because of those kids and the women that died. The letter from the Department of Homeland Security General Counsel Jonathan Mayer reads, Texas has demonstrated that even in the most exigent circumstances, it will not allow Border Patrol access to the border to conduct law enforcement and emergency response activities. Paxton on Wednesday doubled down on the state's action, saying that Texas will not surrender in a statement issued by his office. Paxton responded to the federal government with a 3-page letter claiming that Texas has constitutional authority to defend its territory, a power he plans to continue to fight for in the courts, according to the letter, which is good. I mean, that's in the courts, but should the courts fail him, though, this is something bad. That's bad. In the letter, Paxton said Border Patrol personnel have access to Shelby Park to respond to medical emergencies. The Wednesday deadline marks a latest signpost of intensifying tensions between the state and federal officials as the White House and lawmakers change Texas's policies, including a new law that makes entering the state illegal, a state crime, like illegally entering the state, a state crime. Friction over the issue also has spilled into the state where migrants have been sent by Texas officials to otherwise have gone and has prompted online anti-migrant rhetoric to swell. Well, I mean, the migrant crisis has been insane, man. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the videos of them just like, marching in.
It was a circumstance with I think it was a New York school where they just decided like, hey kids, you're not going to get an education anymore because we need to put the migrants here. So you're going to just go get schooling online. And, if you need a teacher, maybe we'll give you access to that. I mean, parents were furious about that. I'm pretty sure this was in New York. I wanted to ask Megan about it because it's her, like that's her state and she, she knows all about it. Why are we, I mean, what's your take on this? Because it's like, it's intense.
My take that this is really fucking intense, and I've never heard of any town, like any border town, including Texas, having kept the federal government out. This is unprecedented territory, I think. The only other time in recent U.S. history that the federal government has gone up against states has been basically the Civil War. So this is nuts. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Texas is going to defend Texas or if they're going to if they're gonna, keep to that American point of view, like, that they're part of America and blah, 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 because they're sworn to defend Texas and Governor Abbott, and the federals are sworn to protect America. But Texas, as of right now, is part of America. But if they foresee that Texas is acting like they're having a coup, or they're basically, what's the word I'm looking for? What are they called? The Jan 6ers? Insurrection, that these people are insurrectionists and they're basically going against the United States. Then, I mean, it's anybody's guess what could happen.
I want to know what the constitutional argument is that they're going to be making. I'm really curious, like which amendment of the Constitution they're going to be citing. If this is like, I don't know if this is like a 14th Amendment argument. I want to know more. But I guess, so to clarify and understand, because it's a little convoluted, Texas does not want migrants in, and the border and the federal government is saying, no, you need Border Patrol to, keep things open. And
yes.
And so they're fighting with them over that issue because Texans are trying to preclude migrants from coming over the border.
Yes, the Texans are over the migrants coming in because they've been just coming in nonstop, and the federals haven't been doing anything about it. And so the Texans have at this point been like, you know what, fuck it, like we're not gonna let any more people in. Come and get us, federals. Like basically that's that they've just thrown their hand up. This dude Can is saying 10th, I assume, about your political question or about your
I need to review my con log. Hey, 10th Amendment. I'm Googling. I haven't been to law school yet, and we did not learn this in my paralegal program. The
Are you
concept of
going to law school? Are you planning on doing it?
I am. I'm planning on going to law school. I still need to put together my plan and my applications. I wanted to take some time to earn some more money as a paralegal before I do go to law
Sure.
school because law school is expensive. But in like 5 years from now, I will have a JD. I just have to make it
Have
all
you
happen.
decided what part of law you're going to go into?
I really like entertainment law. I mean, that's kind of my background, and, I like intellectual property law. For a second, I thought I was gonna be a defense attorney, but I don't think I'm gonna go that route.
But when you say entertainment law, do you mean like contract entertainment law, or do you mean like what exactly do you mean by entertainment law? Like contractual basis, or
well,
like
so it depends on my
celebrities suing celebrities? Like what? What part?
so, like, the thing I'm most comfortable with is film, and, so basically, it's the area of law, like, okay, so this is, like so you have litigation, everything that happens in the court system, which
Mhm.
really interests me and I'm sure would be a lot of fun, but I don't think that litigation is necessarily going to be my bag. I don't know if it's the rhythm and routine that is going to work just for me as a person, knowing
Sure.
myself, 'cause I can be late to things. So transactional law is more interesting. I feel like, with transactional law, so it's more like you're really just doing a lot of reading and writing, and, I like that stuff. I mean, I like doing legal research. I like, like, just I don't know, it's a lot of it is contracts, clients, and if I were to go into film, there would be a lot of, like, copyright stuff,
Sure,
which it's
copyright. I would assume copyright, contracts, that kind of thing, basically, a lot of that.
LLCs,
LLCs.
and, union stuff as well. There's so much union paperwork that you have to do,
Sure.
especially for, the office that I worked at represented independent production companies, and so
Mhm.
there were a lot of things with, like, union,
Are
representatives that,
you in
like
California?
yeah, I'm in Los Angeles.
Ah,
I
okay,
have
that
lived
makes
in
sense.
Los Angeles for my entire life, so I'm, like, very, very
You're an
familiar.
LA girl, so that makes
Yeah,
sense. That's why you're
yeah.
in an entertainment thing. Ah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Get out. No, I'm just
Everybody tells me to leave California, and, I would if I had a good opportunity somewhere else, but there happen to be a ton of law jobs here. It pays really well. There are lots of opportunities, so, I mean, it might go a different direction. It depends
Well,
if
I
I
mean, I tell you to go to Texas, but hell, I mean, there might be
I've been
civil
to
war
Texas.
there. Shit. Like, I mean, holy fuck. Can
Yeah, I
you
don't know
believe
about
this?
that. I mean, I know I visited Texas. I went to Anime Matsuri, and it was really humid, and my hair got really frizzy. I don't think it's the climate for me necessarily.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah, LA has much more drier heat than this.
I'm used to it. I'm not used to humidity. Humidity freaks me out. It's like I'm,
Oh
like,
my
such
God.
just wet all the
Dude,
time.
I live in humid land because I'm in
Yeah.
Cancun. So I live in like humidity, just central. And this hair does not work well with humidity. I tell you, I have to put so much product in my hair. It's just like, just calm down,
I'm
please. Like,
sure. Well, my hair gets really, really frizzy because in the dry climate, you can't tell that I'm Jewish, but when I go to a humid climate, you can, and it's like I get, like the frizzy, like, kinda Jufro-ish kinda thing going on. My hair looks totally
that's
different.
funny. Oh my
Yeah.
God. That's hilarious.
I grew up with a ton of Iranian Jews, by the way, and, like, we had so many, like, events in the auditorium about, like, Nowruz, and, like, I love
Yeah.
I've grown up with so many Iranian people.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't
I
know that
love the
you were
culture.
Jewish. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's cool. Yeah, that's I mean, we're so similar, like our cultures are so similar. It's just it's unfortunate that our countries can't get along.
Yes, well,
But yeah, but I mean I have so many Jewish friends too. Like we just get along so well because we're Middle Eastern. Like Middle Eastern people get along because, that's we're just warmer that way, I think. We're like, warm-hearted people. Have you been back to Israel?
no, I actually never, went on birthright even though I wanted to. It just never worked out.
Yeah.
I would really like to visit someday, but all of my cousins have gone, all of my friends, growing up, I grew up with a ton of, like, a ton of Israeli kids, so, I mean,
Mhm.
it's beautiful. I'd love
Nice,
to go
yeah.
someday, yeah,
I've
but
never been
the
to Israel either, but it's definitely not somewhere I've ever wanted to really visit, to be completely honest with you, just because of what goes on over there. Like,
Reasonable.
I don't want to get bombed.
It's
Like,
a
I
little
don't want-
chaotic. Oh god, I mean, I've had friends who like they came back and they were like, yeah, they were just like rockets overhead. They seemed really traumatized and
Mhm.
freaked out by it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
normal for them, but it's like it's not really normal for everybody else. So if you get used to it, that's one
No.
thing.
Yeah, like it's funny because I've had like Jewish friends like in Mexico too, and they're like, they come from like straight from Israel, and then like it's funny because like one of my friends was like, "Oh my God, Israel has like the best party scene. Like we gotta go and like all this
In
stuff."
Tel
And I'm
Aviv,
like,
yeah, people say that.
I mean, like I've heard about the Israeli party scene, but I'm at the same time like, okay, look, if I want to go party somewhere, I would really like it to be somewhere that's like not a war zone, but also like, I
Well,
like
also you live in
Ibiza.
Cancun, so
Yeah, I mean,
I
but
mean,
also like there is a place called Ibiza and it's like a party island and it's in Spain. Like, so if I was, which I've gone
I've heard of
to,
Ibiza.
so if I was gonna go to like a party place, like that's where I would go. Like, I wouldn't think of Israel as like my number one, like, party location. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's
no,
just
I know
not.
what you mean. Like they take you so like if you go on a birthright trip, they will take you to Tel Aviv and like you'll go and like
Mhm.
party with like the IDF soldiers and so, it's like a whole thing and
Sure.
that was never really like why I would have wanted to go necessarily, but I mean I would
Yeah.
have done it. It probably would have been fun. But yeah, like I mean someday when all of this cools down and there isn't all of the craziness that's currently happening, but like
I
I'm
really
not
hope.
but the thing is I'm not Israeli. I'm an Ashkenazi Jew. My family is from Eastern
Oh.
Europe, like we're Eastern European Jews, so it's not like my ancestral homeland. I just but the
Okay,
thing is, I
gotcha.
grew up with Jews from like the diaspora, like all over. I grew up with Ethiopian Jews, Mexican Jews, Moroccan Jews are in my family, Peruvian Jews are in my family. Like I know all
Yeah.
different kinds of Jewish people and Sephardic Jews. A lot of Sephardic Jews, who speak Farsi and who I'm like very, like my
Mhm.
neighbor, who's one of the loveliest guys, and I just feel like anybody who's Jewish is just like my homie. So, it's like
Oh,
that kind
that's
of thing.
awesome. Yeah, no, I totally get that, like, that camaraderie feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's lovely. That's lovely.
But, like, I'm not from
Um,
there, and, I don't have
no, that makes
family there,
sense.
so, it's like I don't have any reason to, I
Yeah,
mean,
go
it's
visit kinda thing.
yeah.
That makes sense, that makes sense. I mean, I went back to Iran, I haven't been back since 9/11 happened,
Mm.
because I went back to Iran personal reasons, and then I left, and literally, like, when I returned to Canada a month later, 9/11 happened, and I was like, "Well, I'm never going back." Like, that was basically it, and I never did.
Mm.
It was a difficult time to be
I'm
alive
sure.
and be Middle Eastern, I can tell
Yeah.
you that much.
I can only imagine. I have absolutely no idea. That's well, where in Canada? It's like you feel like but you identify as a Canadian, kind of like you're
Yeah,
because
I
you've
mean,
lived
I'm
all
more
over.
Canadian. Yeah, I'm more Canadian than anything. I mean, I still love my culture. Like, my Iranian culture is something that I mean, cherish, obviously, because it's part of who I am. But I'm definitely like Canada. Like, I'm a Canadian person. I've been educated in Canada. I mean, I was educated in Iran too, but like till I was 10 years old, like you don't really learn that much up to 10 years old. And so like, there's just traditional things that I hold on to, but my education and my love and everything that makes me is Canada, it's Canadian. So that,
I've
that's
never
why
gotten the
I,
chance to visit, but I'd love to go to Canada someday.
oh, really? Canada's
Yeah.
lovely. I definitely recommend. Obviously, I recommend Vancouver because that's my hometown, and I love Vancouver. But Toronto is also very lovely. But Vancouver is like a different beast in a sense because like we're in the middle of the Rockies, so and it's warmer, so you can go there like all times of the year, and it won't be as cold as everywhere else in
Mm,
Canada because we're
nice.
like basically the warmest part of Canada is Vancouver. And of course, dude, I mean, if you're ever gonna go there for winter stuff, like we have skiing in Whistler, and there's just like there's all sorts of. It's just such a beautiful city. There's just such a beautiful vibe and amazing thing to it. So I'll never stop like talking good stuff about Canada and especially Vancouver because that's my hometown. Darren's from Vancouver. So
It's
he's like, "Oh, my girl representing right now." That's right.
I
That's
love
right.
it's funny, I actually did my senior thesis on Canada.
Mm,
I studied anthropology, for my undergrad major, and I did this linguistics thesis, and it was basically about the difference between, Torontonian and Quebec French. because
Oh
Quebec
my
French is
goodness.
so different. And I grew up like, like I said, my extended family is like French, Moroccan, Jewish from Marrakesh. And so I grew up understanding French, like regular academic French. But I heard Quebec French and I was like, what is this language? Like, I don't understand it at all. It was so confusing. And so I did a project and I did some research online on Reddit. And of course, everybody in the Quebec subreddit was extremely helpful. And I got 15 pages of Canadian history of like the whole like backstory between, how like Toronto and Quebec interact with one another. It was fascinating. And they were so helpful.
Yeah.
Super helpful and nice.
Did you find out about the language police in
No,
Quebec?
what?
Because they have that.
Is that a thing? What
Oh,
are the
yes.
language police? Like
The
like a
language
real
police, yes, it's when you don't speak proper French, or if you don't speak French in Quebec, they will ticket you and that you will
Really?
get fined. Yeah,
That's
because you're supposed
crazy.
to speak French over there. That is their first language, is Quebecois. So if you don't
Quebecois.
speak,
Yeah.
if you don't speak it, you will get busted by the language police, and they will fine you for not, like, especially if you're a business shop owner and you don't have you
Wow.
don't speak French, or if you don't
Canada's something else, man.
yeah, they're weird. The Quebecois are weird. Okay, I'm sorry, but they are, and I know there's a lot of there's a lot of Canadians in my chat. I know you feel me, people in Calgary and Vancouver, about the Quebecois. We're kind of trying. We love them, but also we're kind of like, geez, they're weird.
They're just hard to understand. Very hard to understand.
I have gone to Quebec though, and I gotta say, so here's the thing: like, Quebec is basically France. Like, when you go to Canada, it's like, oh, you're going to France, and it's great because it's beautiful and like old and kind of like Gothic looking and blah blah blah. Also, in like the main city, Quebec, everything smells like maple syrup. So if you like walk
Oh my
down the
God.
street, like literally, like you'll be smelling maple syrup the
It
whole
sounds
time.
like heaven. It sounds like a
It's
dream.
beautiful. It is. It actually is so beautiful. So, but then you go to Vancouver, and if you go to like Victoria, which is an island off, like just right off Vancouver, you just take the ferry and you go to Victoria, and that is England. So you got, France and Quebecois, and you got like England and Victoria, because like we literally have like the Parliament building that looks like fucking British Parliament weird shit, and they're all like the British weirdo people that came here. So it's like, it's just like the architecture and everything is like British versus the French in Quebec, which is really cool.
That's kind of
just a
cool though. I
little-
like that. It's kind of like
Yeah.
how in LA, like you drive down one street and then you go through like Little Tokyo, Little Armenia.
Yeah.
We have like a little like a Persian square, like everything everywhere. It's really cool. I really love it.
In Vancouver, we used to have this Chinatown that was like, they had like little pillars in the middle of the city in downtown Vancouver and everything. And you're like, oh, you've entered in Chinatown. And it's like really cute. Now Chinatown is all of Richmond, and they've basically take over the entire city. And they have like, signs that says like Chinese, like road signs, and like they're all in Mandarin, and there's no
Really?
English anymore. I'm not joking you. Like, the entire city has become China.
That's kind of crazy. I had a friend who lived in Quebec, and she told me a really racist. She didn't mean to tell it as a joke, but I laughed really hard. I don't know if I can share it on your channel. It might be too racist.
Oh no. Well, I don't know. Maybe put it in the private chat. Let's see.
Okay. I will have to type this out. I'm pretty sure, was she from Quebec? I think she was from Quebec.
Oh no, I can't see. We can't even joke around. That's the sad part about everything. Yes, we stand with the truckers. Thank God for the from the truckers. If you don't speak French in Quebec, they ignore you, says Iblani over on Rumble. That is also true, because the people, they just won't even bother with you. They'll just be like, whatever. If you don't speak French, then you don't speak at all.
It's not really a joke, but it
Okay,
was
let's see.
a stereotype that my friend who grew up in Quebec had this whole thing about China.
That's fine. You could say that. That's funny. Oh, you could
Okay.
totally say that.
Yeah, so this woman in Tall Shiny, like, she talked about how, like, Quebec is, there are cats everywhere. It's like Quebec is, like, full of cats, and, when you get to the Chinatown, all of a sudden, there aren't any cats, and you have to wonder why.
That is so bad, but also great. My friend,
I'm an asshole.
X-ray girl, she talks about how they like eating dogs all the time, so it's fine, and she's Chinese.
I'm sure a lot of people make dog eating jokes, like to Jeff all the
That's
time.
it's the
That's kind of
thing.
the thing that you do.
I mean, Jeff, I'm sure, is protecting his dogs from Koreans all the time. Like, he's probably like, no, you cannot eat my dogs.
They do look delicious. They're all like fluffy,
You
and
can
they're
come over. Yeah, you can come over for dinner, but my dog is not the freaking on the menu.
I
Damn
mean,
it.
Strawberry and Yoda would be very supple because they don't do anything. They just sit around all the time. So they'd be like veal. They'd be delicious. I'm sure.
Oh my God.
I would never eat your dogs, Jeff, but they are very tasty looking. I'm just saying.
Oh my God. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I called her Chinese. That's terrible. Look at that. How great of a
X-ray
friend am
girl.
I? I called X-ray girl Chinese and she's Vietnamese. My
Oh, that's
God,
a friend.
I'm so
Oh,
terrible.
has she been on Simpcast before? I feel like I've seen her
Oh
around.
yeah, she's been
Yeah.
on Simcast. She has her own channel and she goes on Friday Night Heights. She's got a thing going on. She's
Who
pretty
could say that you
cool.
hate women? You hang out with tons of cool women all the time.
I love women. I just want them to be better. Do better, women. Do
Exactly.
better. That's all. Like, we just want them to not be psycho. It's
Just
not. It's
do
really not that
better.
hard. Yeah, it's really not that hard too much to ask.
Like, just don't make fake pregnancy claims. Like, it's not hard. Like, just
Yeah, exactly. It's really not
it's
that
really
hard.
not
Like,
hard.
don't poke condoms. Like, don't poke holes in condoms. Don't like fake pregnancies. Like, just the really basic ass shit. Don't
And boil
do
bunnies.
psycho shit. Yeah, don't shit on people's beds.
Like, you can be
It's
as like neurotic and fucked up and get as much therapy as you need, girl, but like just don't make it other people's problem.
Yeah,
Really.
don't throw vodka bottles at dudes that break their freaking finger and like cuts off their finger. Like,
Don't lie about
don't
being raped, that that kind of
yeah,
thing.
just real
The
basic
normal
shit.
stuff.
And then we'll be fine. Everything will
Yeah.
be fine. Well, Chandler, it's been a lovely, lovely night. We actually went half an hour over what I was planning on going for because you're so awesome and I
I had
want to
so
talk
much
to you more.
fun. Thank you so much for having me, Nina.
It's been super fun talking to you. So thank you for coming on. Before we go, please let everyone know where they can find you and what you got coming up next.
Absolutely. Well, you can find me at Remy_legal, which is right there. Or type in Chandler Remington. You can find my channel pretty easily. And what I have coming up tomorrow, I'm doing OJ Simpson Thursdays with Legal Vices, as always. And then Friday, I'm probably going to be on Laid Back News. I'm doing my own stream on my own channel with Danny on Direct. We are going to be talking about malevolent mothers. We're talking about Lori Vallow and Ruby Franke, and statistics about how women are actually more harmful to children than men are, which is going to be a sensitive subject. But I'm glad I have Danny because she actually went to the Lori Vallow trial in Utah, and so she has some really good insight. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to be on Lady Bits Legal Vices, which I believe you will be on as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I've been invited to that. So I will try and make it I will try very hard to make it. I came here because of Chandler and Megan. Thanks for introducing Nina, Chandler. Oh, that's great. I'm so glad that you have been that you are here now. And also, just so you know, I don't do just this crazy show. I try to balance out this hard topics that we talk about by bringing good news to you every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, where I talk about nothing but good news and just, fluff and cute animals and good humans being good humans and good people being good people because they're still out there. And yes, exactly as Darren says, Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we do a show called Infinite Hope here where I talk about good things because honestly, we just need it. We need more positivity in this world.
I love good news. I'm glad that you do good news. That makes me happy.
Yeah, you should come by. You should come by sometime. Whenever you need it, a little getaway from all the crazy shit that's going on, come by.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk good news. Is there anything else you want to say before we call it?
bitches be crazy. And to all the men out there, make sure that you do a background check into the women that you are sleeping with. Be careful.
Good advice. So everybody, thank you for watching. Special thanks to you, those of you who super chatted, became a member, gifted memberships, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And over on Rumble, thank you for watching on Rumble as well. And thank you, Rumble, for making us front page. I heard some people say that we're on front page of Rumble, so thank you so much for that. And like I said, you can catch me on Friday here at 2 p.m. Eastern. And until next time, you guys have a good one. Take care, everybody. Bye.